Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is S.E.T. and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor. And shout out to the sponsor. And hey, man, let's get right into it. Yo, this is S.E.T. with S.E.T. Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, man, we got a nice lineup for today because we're going to go through the Iran and Israel conflict again because there has been a lot of updates. But first, let's get into President Trump on Air Force One.
How's it going?
It's going well. Did everybody have a good time? How about you? I did. I always have a good time. Hello. Hi, Jennifer.
You just posted right before we took off that you're not leaving because of a ceasefire. Why are you? Can you elaborate?
We're looking at better than ceasefire. We're not looking for a ceasefire. I didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. That was Emmanuel. Nice guy. But he doesn't get it right too often. But we're not looking. We're looking for better than a ceasefire.
They're looking for an unconditional surrender, aka Iran just gives up and we just go in there and strip them of all their nuclear power or facility and all that good stuff.
You're looking to get into this more. You're not going to involve the U.S. in this conflict at this stage. You're going to do anything more for Israel right now?
We're doing pretty well. Right now, we're doing pretty well. Remember, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We don't have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon.
What was the thinking on the call for Tehran to evacuate? Is there a threat or is there incoming? What was the thinking on the full evacuation?
I want people to be safe. And that's always possible. A thing like that could happen. I just want people to be safe.
Is there any new concern about U.S. troops or assets?
Well, I mean, if you look at media right now, Trump has ordered an evacuation of Tehran, which if you looked at the news, trust me, they're doing it. They're definitely evacuating Tehran. He's definitely getting what he wanted on that point. But, well, the problem here is the conflict still goes on. It's not like these guys just evacuated Tehran. They're giving up here. And it does seem like America may be planning something in the midst. Like, who knows? Who knows? Well, all I know is that we got reports of flights leaving the U.S.
in the region at all today?
We have great people. They know how to protect themselves.
And when you say better, what specifically do you mean?
So hard if they do anything to our people. We'll come down so hard, then the gloves are off so beautifully. Now, I think they know not to touch our troops.
Are you sending?
And shout out to my man Monty. He says, America first, Mr. President. Exactly. Let's hope my man remembers that all the way through, even when he's about to make that final decision, even though it looks like it might already been made.
The vice.
Yeah, but our troops are ready.
Do you
better.
want to send the Vice President and Steve Witkoff? There's reports that you want to send the Vice President and Steve Witkoff to meet with the Iranians and have discussions. Is that something you're considering?
Not sure yet. I may. Depends on what happens when I get back.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that will be permanent.
Yeah. Or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible in the next 24, 48 hours?
It's certainly possible. A complete give up. That's possible, yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know. With like a complete surrender, we'd have to at least wait like 10 days in this conflict. Because guys, if you're looking at what I'm looking at, trust me, it's gonna take some time to just go ahead and get this all situated, because we got a lot of things coming in. Because let me see here. I believe let's take a look over here. Justin strikes West Tehran. Let's go ahead and look at the video right now. There we go. Like, as you see, and that's, I believe, is one of their oil refineries that's going up in the air like that. That is not a nuclear facility, thank God. But as you see in Tehran, that's why Trump has ordered them to evacuate, because even the people is now catching glimpses of the strikes. Yeah, I know, right? It's one of those moments. But all right, though, let's get right back to Trump.
The Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense drawn up plans for you if Iran were to attack U.S. bases or do any damage to U.S. bases?
I just can't tell you.
Can I ask you, because there's been some skepticism, is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
On everything or anything on life, you know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program? Or where's your assessment of that?
I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
And you're into BBs. Do you have any reason to believe the Israelis are going to slow down, or are they going to hit the accelerator right now because they've got superiority?
Yeah, over the next 2 days, right? You're going to find out.
Has the gang
Yeah, and according to military intel, and everybody that's been saying this, that Israel does have air superiority. Now, this doesn't mean that Iran's completely defenseless, because to be honest, they're using their offense as defense, because they are kind of defenseless, but they're still just shooting rockets into the air, seeing which one's going to hit. And they've been bragging on their social media. Yes, Tehran and Iran has a Twitter. They've been kind of bragging about how they're about to upgrade their artillery, because, you know, like I said, they're trying to waste their ballistics and then move on to the hypersonic missiles. And after that, yeah, it's gonna be one of those moments.
of 8?
Nobody's slowed up so far.
Has the Gang of 8 been notified about what's coming in the next couple days?
We'll be talking to them, but
What can you do?
it's not necessary.
What can you do in Washington that you couldn't do in Canada?
Just be a little bit, I think, more well-versed, not having to use telephones so much, because I don't believe in telephones, because people like you listen to them, you know. So being on the scene is much better. And we did everything I had to do on the G7. We had a good G7. We signed the deal with the European Union, phase 1 of a deal, but we signed the deal with the UK. And the UK is really great. We're very far down the line with a lot of deals. I mean, look, we're actually finished with every deal if you really think about it, because all I have to do is say, this is what you're going to pay. But it's nice to be known.
I always just say Trump do have that leverage on everybody's like, when the trade deals are coming. Well, at the end of these 90 days, Trump is going to set the trade deals, and there you go. He's going to start announcing them. This is what you guys are going to do. This is what you're going to pay, and this is the arrangement. Here you go. Since you didn't want to, rush up on these trade deals.
Did Secretary Bessent stay behind as your representative? Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, shout out to my man Big Wave Dave for the baller alert. Appreciate the support. And he says, good night, everyone. Hey, man, appreciate it, my man. Hey, you have a good night.
Man. Yeah, a couple of people.
Can I ask you, where?
Here we go. Who else has a question other than CNN thing?
Mr. President, you talked with the European Union. Can you tell us what the status is on talks on those? You signed with the UK today.
I don't feel that they're offering a fair deal yet. You know, they've been very tough over the years. If you look at European Union, they formed in order to hurt the United States.
Hey, shout out to my man Monty for dropping another baller alert, man. Shout out. He says, Dave, leaving so soon?
And we're either going to make a good deal or they'll just pay whatever we say they have to pay.
What about the Japanese? So you met briefly with Prime Minister Shiba?
Conversation. I thought he was terrific, actually. You know, I was very friendly with Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister. He was a great man. But I think he's going to do a very good job.
You think you have a chance of a deal there?
Chance. They're tough. Japanese are tough. But ultimately, you have to understand.
Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be harder to work with somebody who holds, like, I mean, the largest amount of our debt. Yeah, it's going to be hard to, you know, discuss business with guys who actually have, well, invest the most into America. Let's just admit it. Japan, yeah, invested the most into America, I believe, by like a couple trillion, maybe like 1 or 2 trillion or so. Somebody correct me if they know the exact number, but they're highly invested in America. Actually, our top investor. So to negotiate with guys like that is going to be a little bit tough. But here's the thing, though. Here's on the light side. Well, not so much for Japan, but their economy is kind of going through it right now. So we're kind of meeting them at the right time, you know, while their economy is kind of sinking, their dollar is falling, you know, well, the yen is falling and all that good stuff. So we're kind of a good pick-me-up option right now. And hopefully we can come to some good trade terms. And now shout out to my man Big Wave Dave. He's like, Steph, no worries. Oh, wow. This me. All right. And shout out to my man Green Bean. He says, let's go. And shout out to the supporters. And they
just going to send a letter and say this is what you're going to pay. Otherwise, you don't have to do business with us. But there's a chance of it.
They want changes to the auto tariffs as well. Is that on the table?
What happens? Anything else?
And the drone attack in Kyiv. What's your response to that? It looks like 14 or so a Russian drone attack in Kyiv. Very recently. It seems 14 civilians in an apartment building.
I'll have to look at it.
Joint statement on the Middle East. What changed about that convinced you to sign on to it? The G7 joint statement.
I haven't seen the statement yet.
Honestly, I wonder what convinced Donald Trump that, all right, bro, what made you go from just them being able to have, you know, just enough to have nuclear power to just none at all? Because let's be real, that was the hard line right there that kind of effed this whole deal up and kind of led this opening or the door opening for Israel to attack. So it's either these guys are planning this the whole time to lead Iran on, or maybe Trump got us a different type of persuasion in his ear. Because I would try to talk to this man like, bro, what is wrong with just a little bit of enrichment? Just a little bit. We can monitor it the whole time. Like us hardlining them, telling them to take it apart is kind of the reason they're bucking back against us. I mean, there's other reasons as well, but this is reason number one right now.
But I authorized them to say certain things. I don't know whether or not they said them correctly, but I think they probably did. We had a good meeting. I think that Canadian representatives were very good.
Oh, gotcha, Dave. Don't worry, I got you.
Did a very good job.
How are the trade? How was your meeting with him? How are the trade talks looking with the Canadians?
I think we had a lot of good talks with a lot of people.
You said he's looking for something more complex. Can you tell me what you mean by that?
They get too complex on the deals and they never get done. And we need speed. You know, we're dealing.
Not gold. You are right. You're not wrong. They did found out they have up to 60% enrichment. But here's the thing. Is it for a bomb? And do we know for sure? Because I was thinking on this and I was going like, you know what? It could be for a bomb. It could be for power. It could be for some type of, I don't know, maybe they got some technology they're working on where they need a substantial amount of power. And, you know, nuclear is the only option. For all you know, they might be wanting to get into AI. And just like we were doing over here, they wanted a nuclear option. I mean, who's to say? But you're right, though. But like I said, we were working on something to where they can get down to that like 2% or so, 2 to 3%. That was supposed to be the deal. Now it's just like pure point blank. You get nothing at all. Is like, okay, like we're hardlining on what now? Like I thought it was all about removing the threat of them having a nuclear bomb. And at 2-3%, while we have inspectors, is great. Like, what's wrong with that?
With really, if you think about it, probably 175 countries, and most of them are going to just be sent a letter saying it'll be an honor to trade with you, and here's what you're going to have to pay to do it. We're making a lot of money. You know, we took in 88 billion in tariffs, and I was called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying we don't understand, the numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He said,
hey, and shout out to my man Monty. Says the IAEA did say that we're at 60%, so I think there is a truth to it. And yes, it is for a bomb. That's why it's all underground. You know what? On that point, I can concede. I can concede on that. Because, well, then hold on. Another reason they're doing it underground is because they know Israel wants to bomb the shit out of it. Let's be also honest too. Like, we can't sit here and pretend like they didn't build that underground because they know how Israel gets. And if Israel would even see something up top, they would just bomb it off the rip. Like, they wouldn't even let that fly. Like, let's be honest. So I do hear your point on that one, though, because, you know, underground for secrecy or underground for protection. I mean, the protection reason's kind of standing point right now.
well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column, and it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before, and that's nothing compared to what it's going to be.
You've got other tariffs coming down the pipe here. What's the timing on those things like lumber, copper, pharmaceutical drugs?
Yeah, we're going to be doing pharmaceuticals very soon. That's going to bring all the companies.
Oh, and shout out to my man Monty for the baller alert. Had to give my man my shout out.
He's back into America.
All of them are focusing on search time.
Back in, at least partially back in. You know, they left us because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We should have never lost our car business. We lost 52% of our car business over the years. We should have never lost it. All they had to do is say, if you make a car, you're going to leave us, you're going to make a car, you're going to pay a 25-30% tariff, and they would have never left. Nobody said that to anybody until I came along.
Homeland Security is saying that ICE is going to start enforcing.
Oh, guys, make sure we double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys. And shout out to my man Big Wave Dave. He said apparently Monte and I are playing tag. I'm weak. And shout out to Big Wave Dave coming in with another baller alert again. Shout out Big Wave Dave.
My man.
In hotels and farms again. Is that a change of course from last week?
We're gonna look everywhere, but I think the biggest problem is the inner cities. We're looking everywhere. Look what they let into this country, what Biden let in or allowed to. I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing, frankly, but whoever worked for him. But they let into this country. We're never going to forget it. They let prisoners in. They let gang members in, drug dealers in, the mentally insane into our country. No, we're going to get them out. There are far more in the inner cities, Democrat-run cities. Sadly, I mean, I'm just giving you a fact. There's far more in there than you have on a farm or someplace.
So no one's getting exemptions anymore. Everyone is
being looked at, but the bigger problem is the cities right now. That's where you have, and that tends to be where the really bad ones are. The murderers, you know, they've let in.
And I mean, he's not lying. I did say LA, that was prime suspect number one. I mean, New York City's gonna be number two, somewhere out there in the Bronx. And then you got Chicago up next. Like, yeah, we're going to the top cities, and sadly, they just so happened to be Democrat. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the fact of the matter. Oh, and shout out to my man Montgomery coming in with another baller alert.
My man.
And, well, shout out my man Montgomery with 100. You said, well, here's the nuke here's the nuke of tag. God. Oh, shit. He hit you with one, Dave. He definitely hit you with that one.
1,888 murderers, people that killed people. Biden allowed that to happen. So the Democrats allowed it to happen. Biden didn't know he was even around. Yeah.
Question on your Senate confirmations. With all the military actions, there are only 3 of your 6 sub-cabinet members at the Defense Department.
I'd
Your
like to see the
undersecretary.
nominations go faster.
Nah, I heard something that they actually left out Tulsi Gabbard. Yes, the lady who pretty much said that there wasn't any, well, there weren't no nukes being made in Iran. Who said that about what? Somebody, I thought it was like a couple months ago during her hearing or during one of her hearings, but somebody said it was about 3 weeks ago. But yeah, she pretty much told us that there are no nukes being made in Iran, and then all of a sudden we're going against our director of what, national security? Was it? What is her position again? Because oh yes, director of intelligence. We're going against her. We're going against the director of our intelligence agency, and we're just gonna say, oh yeah, well, what she say don't matter. And what irritated me about Trump was they brought it up to the man. It says, so what? What about what Tulsi Gabbard said? That's literally her job. You appointed her this job to provide you intelligence, and you just pretty much say, hey, yeah, screw that. Like, nah, screw that. They're trying to make a bomb. Like, bro. Well, I mean, what was the point of having Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump? You were just gonna make that decision on your own.
Democrats hold up our nominations.
Are you going to talk to Senator Thune about that?
John Thune's doing a very good job. You know, I've got a lot of people, but he's doing a very good job. The Democrats, if we had George Washington up for approval, the Democrats would take maximum time, every hour, every minute, to delay him as long as possible. If we had a combination.
Oh, the Democrats are really about to piss this man Trump off. I ain't gonna lie. Look, if I'm gonna be real with you guys, this is probably the one time I'm actually okay with what the Democrats are trying to do right now. The one time, I promise you guys, is only about no war. Anything else they try to stop them on, they're being petty as hell. But this no war stuff, you know what, Dems? I'm rocking with you on it. I'm rocking with you guys. Cause yeah, the House War Powers Resolution, the Senate War Powers Resolution, the Senate No War Against an Iranian Act. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling it. Keep this up. Keep this up, you goddamn Dems. I'll feel you on this one. We're rocking with you. Now, let's hopefully we can get some more. Well, you know what? Whoever's not on this, though, we know who the warmongers are. Actually, we've been new. But yeah, guys, keep this up because we kind of, if we actually do need Congress to step in and say, yeah, the American people have spoken unilaterally on the left and the right, and we both are saying we don't want to go to war. We don't want to go to war for Israel. We don't want to go to war with Iran. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to sell us on the weapons of mass destruction again. Oh, well, let me get you right back here.
In March, the intelligence community.
If we had a combination of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, they would go max. It's called max time.
You've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having one.
Bro,
you were at this beautiful.
Bro, you think like I would really have if that man would have gave me that type of answer right there? I'd be like, all right, bro, hold on now. You're telling me that this lady that runs your intelligence, who has all the assets out there in the world at her disposal, she tells you that, nah, everything's cool over there in Iran, and you just can't take that? Bro, you're letting the neocons talk you into a war. Go like, no, don't believe Tulsi. Of course Iran's building a bomb. We don't got no proof. We're just going off word of mouth. Just trust me, bro. Trust me, Trump. They got a bomb. But Tulsi Gabbard's saying no. And I've heard rumors, these are only just rumors, that, yo, she's planning on walking out. And if she does, that all but confirms.
Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having one.
I got this one on. You were at this beautiful scene for the meeting, and you said a lot about acquiring Canada as a state. Did anybody talk to you about that? And where are you now?
Much better deal from Canada, but you know, it's up to them. They're going to have to pay a lot of tariffs and things. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for the dome, for the Iron Dome. They want to be a part of it. So we may make a separate deal on that, by the way. We discussed that, yeah, on the dome. That may be a separate deal. They want to be at $71 billion. They're going to pay.
Maybe a dome thing separate from the tariff.
In the dome.
$10 billion or more. I thought it was 61. Now 71 billion to get our protection for the Iron Dome or become the 51st state. I mean, that's always a good option, Canada.
Yeah, they'll be under the.
Are you open to negotiating with the Iranians right now, or do you want to wait?
I've been negotiating. I told.
And shout out to my man Big Wave Dave. He says, okay, I'm going to sleep. Hope you all have a great night. Law, I expect to hear from you. And don't worry, I got you, Dave. I'll go ahead and send Law your email.
I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. Their cities have been blown to pieces and lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate now.
Do you think you'll be in the
And shout out to my man Montgomery coming in again. Shout out Monty. Coming in and coming at Dave like quitter.
situation room tomorrow at any point?
Tomorrow morning, girl, while you're sleeping. Goodbye, everybody.
To evacuate Tehran. You know how you posted evacuate?
I think it's safer.
On
There's a lot of bad things happening there. No, I think it's safer for them to evacuate.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged
Actually,
there. Have you called the governor yet? Or
let
been
me
able
go
to
ahead
speak?
and show you some, I believe, some footage from Iran that I've actually picked up here because it's actually pretty wild. Like, guys, watch this. This is actually coming. This is Israel striking Iran, and Iran's little air defense doing whatever it can because Israel is hitting them with, well, whatever they can. All right, guys, check this out. Whatever they can. So pretty much like they're trying to waste each other's missiles. And that's the best way. I mean, hey, that's actually a good strategy for Israel because, I mean, that's the way I'd have done it. Like, hey, we just don't keep shooting till you waste your ballistic missiles for defense instead of you just berating us with hypersonic missiles. I get the strategy. I get the strategy. But all right, man, let's get right back over to Trump, and then we're gonna get over to some other get over to the right side of coverage, which is gonna annoy you a little bit.
Speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. Look, he appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him.
And shout out to Big Wave Dave. He says, Monty, when you donated what I have, then come talk to me. I'm weak. This man Dave. But hey, man, appreciate the support, man. Shout out you guys. Shout out to all the supporters, man. Appreciate you guys and the members.
What would I call him? I could call him, say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
On the very beautiful bill, sir, can you talk about what the Senate...
Well, with a big...
I've been looking at the Senate. They proposed some change.
Beautiful bill, right?
Are you okay with their changes?
I hear so far it's going well.
Are you going to extend
Look, if it doesn't get approved, 68% tax increase, and I think the Democrats would have to, they'd be, because we won't get Democrat support. Think of it. We're giving the biggest tax cut in history. Instead, you have the biggest tax increase in history. 68%.
Are you going to extend the TikTok deadline again? It's coming up in June.
Most likely.
Probably have to get China approval. I think we'll get it.
You have the legal basis
I
to
think
do that?
President Xi will ultimately approve it.
Oh, I'm crying. Shout out it's my bad. Shout out Monty, bro. He says, Dave, quitter. I'm like, he's trying to poke the bear for some reason.
Have the legal basis
Shout out
to do
Monty
that
for
to keep
poking
us
the bear.
What we do.
Two more on Iran. Is there any sign that North Korea is getting more involved in helping Iran, or is Russia getting more involved with military assistance?
No,
What
I don't
about-
think anybody wants to get involved. It's a mess.
What about American citizens, U.S. citizens who are trying to leave the area with the airport shut down, Ben Gurion shut
We're doing
down?
the best we can with it. We're working on that. We're doing the best we can. Thank you, everybody.
And shout out Steph. She says, Set, my friend Effin Merdich is in the chat joining tonight. Hey, man, shout out to my man. Hey, if you're a friend of Steph, you're a friend of mine. All right, now let's get over to our man Sean Hannity. Once again, warmonger out for the second night in a row.
Everyone to evacuate. Now, less than 24 hours after Donald Trump warned everyone to evacuate Tehran. Wow. Donald Trump puts out this on social media. The highways out of Iran's capital were absolutely, positively packed with cars. Millions appear to be listening to Donald Trump and taking the president's words rightly very seriously. Unfortunately, over the past 2 months, the mullahs of Iran, they failed to do the same. As the president put it, quote, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame, a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, unquote.
I mean, he might as well be more clear and say, man, Iran cannot have no type of nuclear capability. I mean, I think like at that point.
That is the Trump doctrine, for those of you that don't understand. It is common sense. Big part of the Trump platform, he would say it over and over again. Our platform is that of common sense. The #1 state sponsor of terrorism that has threatened to wipe Israel and the United States off the map repeatedly and fired either themselves or through their proxies, what are hundreds of thousands of rockets over the years at this small country. This is something the president has emphasized over and over again. He has done it over the years. Look at your screen and watch.
Believe me, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, that I can tell you. Most importantly, the United States and Israel.
I don't know. This is probably the most disingenuous spin because it's not about Iran having a nuclear weapon. It's like Iran is kicking and screaming because you won't let them have nuclear capabilities whatsoever. Not even to enrichment. But as everybody's saying, what the hell they need 60% for? So I get that. But then don't tell them, instead of telling them just to drop their enrichment and cut the BS, you're just telling them they can't have it at all. I mean, in the way Iran says talking about it, say, oh, we're fighting, but we're fighting for our freedom. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Can declare with one voice that Iran must never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon. Never, ever.
And shout out to Dave. He says the call ain't open yet. And shout out to my man Montgomery. Trolling Dave with the quitter. Bro, shout out. That was the baller alert.
My man.
The big move. The Iranian, in order to ensure the other big move, the Iranian regime never obtains nuclear weapons.
A regime with this track record must never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon.
Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you very much.
Now, take a look at your screen. The president, look at this. He has been saying these exact words going back to 2011, steady, firm, and consistent. And tonight, the American people overwhelmingly agree the country's most accurate pollsters, that would be Trafalgar, Insider Advantage. They nailed the 2016, 2020, 2024 presidential elections. They posed the following question, and it is right to the heart of the issue here. What is your opinion of President Trump's position that Iran must be prevented from developing a nuclear weapon, adding, by any means necessary? Take a look at your screen. A whopping 75% of the American people agree with the president. And according to a Harvard-Harris poll, 85% of voters say Iran should not be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon. A majority of voters also want the president to take out Iran's nuclear program.
Hey, shout out Big Wave Dave. He said, I'm glad dude is here. I will be a quitter. Hey, man, shout out. Shout out for Dave for respectfully bowing down for one time. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for not overly getting petty.
With a military operation. And another poll, from Insider Advantage, has the president's approval rating above water, 10 points above water, outpacing past two-term presidents by far.
Yeah.
Now, this brings us to a critical question at this hour. Israel.
Look, man, this ain't about Trump's performance in all the good areas. Like, we get it. He's doing great. I always just say my problem with Trump, though, is when it comes to his geopolitical ideology or what he does outside of the U.S. And this is my point, case in point right here. Like, we're backing the wrong people, right? Well, I'm not going to say, I'm just saying, look, we're not even backing the wrong people. We just shouldn't be backing anybody. We should just step back completely and let these guys hash it out. And it'll probably just come to a ceasefire eventually.
Has successfully now targeted 2 of the 3 most major Iranian nuclear facilities. The third location, the Fordow enrichment plant that Jennifer.
And shout out to my man Monty. Says, Monty, you have a long way to go to match me, though. And shout out to my man Monty coming in, though. He's like, but it's all love. Love you, Dave. Hey, shout out to the support. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go to
facilities. The third location, the Fordo enrichment plant that Jennifer Griffin was talking about, is buried deep under a mountain. This is south of Tehran. This is believed to be the most significant and secretive nuclear facility inside of Iran. In order to prevent the mullahs from getting a nuclear weapon, this facility must be destroyed. Tonight, the way I see it, there are three options. One, Israel could use a tactical nuclear weapon to wipe out the site. They don't have bunker buster bombs. That would obviously be not only highly...
Whoa. Are we just publicly admitting now that Israel got nuclear weapons? Are we just finally going to stop the BS and stop lying? Oh, this is beautiful. Hold on, bro. Because when Fox News started admitting that Israel could use this nuclear weapon, wait, I thought they didn't have it. Okay. I like how we're telling the truth now.
One, Israel could use a tactical nuclear weapon to wipe out the site. They don't have bunker buster bombs. That would obviously be not only highly controversial, but come with massive risks to the region. It is not a good option. Option number two, Israel can send in a team of commandos on the ground. Also very risky with a much lower chance of success.
I mean, yeah, bro, whoa. They don't want to do commandos on the ground. They do not have the numbers for commando on the ground. They just want to keep things in the air and with artillery because, yeah, they're outnumbered. Like, yeah, military can't go on the ground with Iran. Yeah, they can't go on the ground with Iran. 90 million versus like how much, bro, do Israel got? Maybe like 9 million people at best.
Third best option involves the United States of America, our military, which is equipped with these 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs capable of penetrating that mountain. Israel does not have this critical weapon in its arsenal.
Yeah, shout out to my man Hellbat. He says if Iran wants to be truly free, have it point its rocket at China. Well, goddamn. I mean, I guess shit. I mean, that just basically saying, look, we're on your side, U.S. at that point.
And they do,
but that's one of their allies, though. That's them and Russia. Those two are one of Iran's allies, and they do buy a decent amount of oil from them. Not enough to probably get into a world war over to back them up on, but you know, they still do buy a decent amount. And the way China reported, I mean, yeah, the leaders in China are saying, yeah, both sides should come to a peaceful resolution, and you guys should make it snappy because we don't want our gas prices to rise. And that's China's stance on it. I know, so it's about the money, huh?
Do not possess the large bombers that are capable of dropping an ordnance of that size. So now President Trump has a decision to make. Will he deliver the final blow to Iran's nuclear program? Will he rid the world of this clear and present danger and this existential threat? Will he end Iran's threat of nuclear terror once and for all and make the world a safer place for generations to come? This is not an easy decision for anybody. And let me be clear. It is not without its own risks. But ask yourself these questions. Would the world be better off without the world's #1 state sponsor of terror that has fired hundreds of thousands of missiles into Israel, either by themselves or through their proxies?
Yeah, I mean, bro, you sold us this story before and it didn't work. That's the problem. It's like you don't understand how you kind of are trying to walk us down a familiar route, and we're just looking at y'all with the side eye like, bro, we've been here before and we don't want to go there again. So you keep trying to pull us into this situation, Hannity. You trying to convince Americans that this is our problem. Is not working right now. Because trust me, once everybody understands the real conflict going on and the fact that Israel did strike first, but for some reason we're reporting it like Iran did. Yeah, once people understand that, they're going to realize what's going on. And hopefully to call out all the warmongers and the neocons in there.
Is it?
Well, in Congress.
Should they have nuclear weapons? Do the people of Israel and the rest of the region deserve a chance to live in peace without the threat of a nuclear-armed Iran? They would hold the world hostage. How many rockets, ask yourself, launched into our country?
And shout out to my man AJ. He says the WNBA still beating up Caitlin Clark. LOL. Hey, said, hey, what's good, big dog? Appreciate the support, AJ. And I was hearing about that actually. Like she took 2 weeks off. The WNBA took a dip in views, came back, they back up.
A small town, a big city in the United States. How many missiles would it take for you to demand that your country fight back? And again, this isn't just about Israel. all of Israel's neighbors in the Arab world. They want Iran's nuclear program dismantled. Nobody.
Hey guys, let me go ahead and give you guys a sneak peek of what we'll be reacting to tomorrow, because Tucker Carlson pretty much did a one-on-one with Ted Cruz, and man, it got real. So I'm hoping that it got realer than what this 1 minute clip provides. But all right, I'm gonna show you what we'll be reacting to tomorrow, because apparently it's gonna drop at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
About 90 mil.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
Ooh.
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims, know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strike.
I hated that spin. It's like, oh, well, the last two assassination attacks was planned by Iran. And I'm like, who are you talking about? You're talking about Thomas Cook, the one we got no information on. No, I'm sorry, I can't take your word on that. You got to show us the investigation work. And then if you're talking about Ryan Ralph, the guy who was oh so pro-Ukraine, I doubt it, because his allegiance was to Ukraine, not Israel. Well, you know, maybe you could link Ukraine and Israel together in some way, some crazy way, shape, or form, maybe. But as far as I'm concerned, it was all about Ukraine with that man.
Strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
I mean, here's the thing. We don't even got proof that they have a bomb. We have no proof that they have a bomb. And the government or the neocons wants us to go in there on the trust me, bro. We have no proof, bro. Our director of intelligence told us told us we have no proof, told us they're not making it, told us Halamani is not reinstating their nuclear program to create a bomb. They told us that we got no proof. All of a sudden, Trump is like, oh, I don't care. I'm like, bro, at this point, Trump, shut us all up. Tell us what you know then. Shut us all up, please, because we're looking at you like you're stupid right now.
We're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
I mean, can't wait for that one. And don't worry, I'll show you guys a little bit more. I think he dropped another clip on it. All right, let's get back to Sean Hannity. You know, like I said, trying to get us to get the feeling of going into Iran and setting these guys free, but then while I'm losing American lives and spending trillions of dollars, you know, sounds great, doesn't it? I don't know, Kennedy, you're being dishonest now, because Iran told us, yo, America, if you stay out of it, nothing will happen. Oh, shoot. Hold on. My bad, guys. I forgot to switch it over. My bad.
Iran's nuclear program dismantled. Nobody's speaking out on behalf of Iran. This is also about the United States. The Islamic Republic of Iran doesn't just threaten Israel. They have vowed to destroy our country, kill our people. Let's go back to your screen. The threats and acts of violence have been nonstop since the Iranian Revolution. That was in 1979. Jimmy Carter was president. Remember, Iran's extremists under the Ayatollah Khomeini, their regime seized America's embassy in Tehran. They took 66 American hostage, 444 days. Iran was also behind the 1983 Beirut bombing of a Marine Corps barracks, 240.
Look, Hannity, you can roll this out as much as you want. You're still not going to convince nobody to go into Iran. We don't want to do this again. You did this last time. You rolled out the laundry list of atrocities last time, and we did it. And we got fucked over. We're not doing it this time. I don't know why they keep trying it. Like, I get it. Yes, they're wrong. Yes, it was bad, evil, whatever. But you still can't convince me that, oh, we should go ahead and bomb Iran. We should get into it ourselves. No, there's almost nothing that you guys can say. It would have to be all on what Iran does. Like, if Iran hits us, okay, let's fuck them up. But until then, I'll say we just let them hash it out.
41 Marines died that day. A suicide bombing at America's embassy in Beirut that killed 17 Americans, also directed by Iran. The mullahs were also behind the attack at the Khobar Towers, killing another 17 American troops. Shia militias, backed by Iran, have also been responsible for countless deadly terror attacks against the U.S. Troops in Iraq, Iran also launched a massive missile attack on U.S. bases in Iraq in 2020, injuring over 100 American servicemen and women. There were also reportedly multiple attempts by Iran to assassinate President Trump. Remember, we've talked a lot about Iranian assassination squads, thanks to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mayorkas, complicit media, and complicit Democrats that told us the border was closed and secure and lied to us. Anyway, by the supreme leader threatening all-out war against the United States this year. 2 years ago, Iran vowing that the U.S. would suffer heavy losses. Iran's naval commander threatened to sink U.S. ships in the Gulf. In 2022, Iran declared that it can use nuclear missiles to turn New York into hellish ruins. And, of course, the unofficial motto of Iran: death to Israel, death to America. And by the way, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a new threat issued almost every day. Do you really want a country like that?
I mean, look, I get it. I get the rhetoric. But at some point, we was trying to peace talk with these guys, and that didn't work out because we hardlined on their nuclear production when they was willing to concede some stuff. So, like I said, it does seem like the neocons took over this negotiation and kind of is pushing us towards a war off it alone. And of course, you got, trigger happy Israel ready to bomb anything in sight at a moment's notice, which are kind of did with Gaza. And then they shifted their attention towards Israel. I mean, not Israel, but towards Iran. And what's a bit weird is I wonder how Israel's like kind of panning that out, because now they got to fire off at Iran and then also defend themselves against Hamas, apparently, which I doubt they're still doing.
In possession of a nuclear weapon, or would the world be wise and smart, and would we be applying common sense by taking this threat out while we own the skies over the entire country of Iran? Sadly, the Democratic Party, they're too busy playing politics, being crazy, to even care. In addition to the riots and the anti-Semitism, obsession with gender identity, now Senator Tim Kaine, he's now trying to shield Iran, limit Trump's authority as commander-in-chief with a new resolution that would require congressional approval before any action against Iran.
And we kind of want, dog. I'm sorry, but look, we get you. Like the first time with immigration, with the Aliens Enemies Act. Okay, cool. You guys, we was against liberals on that. What was the second one? I believe it may have been the tariffs or something. All right, we was with y'all on that. But bro, if this is about war, then yeah, we're kind of with the Dems on this one, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're with the Dems because we kind of got to pull you guys back a little bit because you are trying to pull us into this conflict on the trust me, bro, with no proof at all. Just all the fear mongering in the world. And trust me, the Dems do that enough for us to see right through it.
Of course, Tim Kaine didn't push for a similar bill when a mentally inept and cognitively compromised Joe Biden was president. For the crazy Democratic Party, everything's about power and politics. Now, this all started with Barack Obama. How is he not?
Yeah, that is a good point, though.
How we never got to the bottom of that idiotic Iranian deal, payloads of cash given to Iran, $1.7 billion. That cash payment alone, bankrolling hundreds of ballistic missiles and fomenting.
Oh, and shout out to my man Monty. He says, I cannot wait, man. Sure, I can't wait till more results come out, honestly. More developments.
Terror all throughout the region. Over 1 million rockets you can buy with that amount of money. Joe Biden, well, he let them get even richer because he didn't enforce the sanctions that was bankrupting Iran that Donald Trump had put in place. And now, per usual, it is up to Donald Trump. to clean up their mess. The good news, our president has a plan. It is not forever wars. That is part of the Trump doctrine. Or boots on the ground. That is not part of the Trump doctrine. Common sense is an Iran.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You saying that they don't have a nuclear, they cannot have a nuclear bomb, and the way you guys are positioning yourselves right now kind of got us a bit on the edge. Like, okay, you say that, but I mean, why not just let Israel handle it then? If you guys feel so confident in Israel, since all the propaganda in the world is pointing towards Israel winning, why are we doing this then if Israel's so strong? It kind of sounds like we may be hiding some facts here to war, kind of like we were doing with Ukraine. Kind of sounds like we're kind of hiding some things, and I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna find out. God damn it, I'm gonna find out, and it better not be that Iran secretly kicking their ass, or then we're really gonna have a problem. Because, boy, I mean, I can see why you guys are so thirsty to jump in.
And not having a nuclear weapon also is. Iran will simply never have one. And the threat posed by the Islamic Republic will be over. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
Now that we heard from the right, let's go ahead and swing over onto the left with our man Bernie Sanders. Man, the days of a Bernie, bro. Shout out my college days. All right, man, let's get into our man Bernie.
Thank you very much for joining me. In the year 2025, one might have hoped that the global community would be working together to address the existential threat of climate change, working to prevent future pandemics, working to address the massive levels of income and wealth inequality that exist, working to improve the standard.
Wait, before we get into my man Bernie here, I did want to go ahead and show you this final clip between the Tucker versus Ted Cruz. Let's get right into it, and then we're going to get right back into our man Bernie Sanders going off on Trump about this maybe war. Because like I said, I'm telling everybody to calm down, but as I'm hearing things develop, I'm like, look, guys, before we say that Trump completely betrayed us, let's wait until he betrayed us, okay?
Does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
That's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all. Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us. And I'm not.
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that, and by the way, I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know. Hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming. I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest.
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it.
I mean, there's been plenty of countries that we've caught a lot more than I'd like to admit that we've kind of caught spying on us, yet, they're still our allies somehow, some way. Some of them are our greatest ally.
Right. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Man. But all right, man, let's get right back over to our man Bernie. We're going to swing over to the left, and then we're going to go ahead and go all the way over to the right. And I'm not even going to tell you who I'm about to play next, but trust me, we're going to swing all the way to the right.
Thank you very much for joining me. In the year 2025, one might have hoped that the global community would be working together to address the existential threat of climate change, working to prevent future pandemics.
Yeah, you would hope that does sound like a nice pipe dream, does it not, Bernie? You would hope we reach there. I'm not even gonna lie. But shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says Trump always said Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, but we need concrete proof, not hearsay. They ignore China and Russia allies who would defend Iran. And here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. The way conservative media is right now framing this is as if, China and China and Russia is not like they don't really see Iran as important enough to fight for. It's pretty much the way the conservative news is framing it. Honestly, it's liberal news as well. Only independent media has been pretty much saying that Iran got these other allies on the side that might be willing to jump in. But conservative media is like, well, Iran doesn't hold that much stake in their success for them to honestly jump in about it. I'm like, okay, and that's what I've been hearing from both sides. I'm just telling you what I've been heard.
Working to address the massive levels of income and wealth inequality that exist, working to improve the standard of living of struggling people all over the world. But tragically, that is not where we are today. Quite the contrary. Instead of addressing the major crises that we face, the world is now looking at the terrible war in Ukraine, started by Putin, which has taken hundreds of thousands of lives over the last 3 years. We are looking at the horrific war in Gaza, where, as we speak, thousands of Palestinian children are facing starvation.
Hey, shout out my man Fox for the baller alert. He says, I'm drunk tonight. I appreciate all you patriots. See you tomorrow. Hey, shout out to my man. Hey, he's hung in there. Man, hung in there for a minute. Shout out to Fox Shades for the baller alert.
Due to Israel's inhumane and illegal war policies. And now we face a dangerous and escalating war in Iran, which was begun in violation of international law by the extremist Netanyahu government. And the main point that I want to make today is that it is absolutely imperative that the United States.
And remember, Netanyahu is supposed to be on trial for corruption charges for receiving gifts from millionaires. I mean, Jewish billionaires that he gets these gifts from. And you're not supposed to do that as a politician. And there's also other things he was doing on the side. And there's also other things that he did with with U.S. money that kind of caused the whole Hamas attack. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Not be dragged into this war. Let me say a word about how this war began. On Thursday, Netanyahu launched an illegal and unilateral surprise attack on Iran. Bombing targets across the country and killing hundreds of people. Iran has responded with attacks of its own, which have killed dozens of people in Israel. Whatever you may think of the corrupt and authoritarian Iranian regime, Israel's attack clearly violated international law and the United Nations Charter. While every country has the right to defend itself, they do not have the right to launch so-called preemptive wars of this kind. But let's remember who Netanyahu is. He is a war criminal under indictment by the International Criminal Court for starving innocent people and killing civilians in Gaza.
Yeah.
At this very moment in Gaza.
I mean, bro got crimes to face international court. He has crimes to face in his own court in Israel. I mean, trust me, if international court don't get him, Israel will.
Israel continues to prevent the UN from delivering humanitarian aid. And just today in Gaza, Israeli tanks fired into a crowd desperately trying to collect food, killing at least 59 people. So it should come as little surprise that Netanyahu.
Now, to be honest, now if you hear it from the IDF, they'll say that they got into a skirmish with a mosque and then they start shooting at the people and they were at the crossfire. They weren't actually trying to shoot at them. But if you ask the Palestinians or Hamas, they was like, yo, the IDF just started opening fire at them as soon as they started trying to reach the aid site. I'm just giving you both sides.
Ignored international law to start this war with Iran. But Netanyahu's decision to strike also directly contravened the express wishes of the United States, which was seeking a diplomatic resolution to the long-standing tensions around Iran's nuclear program. In recent months, the United States has held 5 rounds of negotiations with Iran to resolve these long-standing concerns. Let me repeat. In recent months, the United States has held 5 rounds of negotiations with Iran to resolve these long-standing concerns. A 6th round of talks was planned for Sunday, but Netanyahu chose instead to start this war. So let's be clear. Israel's attack was specifically designed to sabotage American diplomatic efforts.
I mean,
In fact,
we were trying to talk to them in the first round. Israel bombed one of their ports. This is actually the second attack that Israel's hit Iran with. The first one was a port, so Iran just brushed it off. The second one was a nuclear facility, and that's when they got serious. So it does seem that Israel had no intention for us to have any peace talk with Iran or reach any type of negotiation, because it does explain how we went from, all right, you can have a little bit, you can have that 2-3% to nothing at all. It's a bit weird how that worked out, huh?
In fact, in its first round of strikes, Israel assassinated the man overseeing Iran's nuclear negotiating team. And let's also remember that
all right, man. Shout out to my man Monty. All right, man. Go ahead and take it away on this one.
What's up? So, for the most part, I mean, it's really easy to agree with Bernie. However, we're completely ignoring the fact that we've been negotiating with Iran forever since this regime got into power, and we have gotten nowhere. And we can argue about semantics all day long. Oh, they have nuclear material. Oh, they don't. They're enriching uranium. Oh, they're not. The bottom line is they are sponsoring terrorism. They do not. They're not open with how they enrich uranium, and they're chanting death to America. So I'm not going to sit here and condemn Israel for waiting till the 61st day. They were given that warning. You have 60 days to accept a deal, and it was absent of threats. Obviously, that statement was absent of threats. But we've been doing this for 40 years, and we've gotten nowhere. We've gotten more extremism. We've gotten more down this road.
But I would say this: if we hit them with what we want to do, which is a regime change, that might just disable the whole state, and then we might get something worse.
I mean, that's the risk. That's the risk you take. I don't think that. Like, I don't have an opinion on what should happen to Iran, but I do believe that I don't think Israel is unjustified or justified in striking Iran. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They're a free country. They can start wars however they want. I mean, I've said it a couple of times. They're writing checks with their mouth that their ass can't cash, but that's their prerogative to do that.
And so, if that's the case, let them go.
And they are being surgical. Like, whatever you want to say about them dealing with Hamas and dealing with Palestine, they're attacking what they believe are military targets. They have, the Mossad in there, which is their version of the CIA, going around and investigating this. Like, we can't sit back and pretend that Iran is not a threat. Because they absolutely are. Even let's just completely ignore.
But here's the thing, though. I don't know about that, and the reason why I got to pause on that one is because we were trying to have the peace negotiation. That was completely effed up. And I do like to state that these two been at conflict. Israel hit these guys twice. So remember, not just on the 61st day, but also while Trump was in the Middle East, they went and hit them at their port. So I would love to sit here and say that, Iran is just these evil people that you just can't work with. I love to have that idea of them because it makes it easier to condone all this. But I can't, because it's like, all right, well, if I was dealing with a group of people who, no matter how much I try to gain some peace with them, I'm always the bad guy. Or as soon as I try to talk to one, the other one ends up beefing with me or hitting me. At a certain point, I'm just like, F both of you.
Yeah. I mean, like, Iran, it's talking points left and right. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. So they're not I mean, we've had this conversation before. They'll negotiate to your face and then plan on stabbing you in the back,
All right.
Yeah.
Let's let our man Bernie finish, and then we're going to go ahead and get to more controversial characters.
U.S. intelligence has never indicated that Iran has made the decision to build a nuclear weapon. Just a few months ago, Trump's own Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified to Congress that, quote, the intelligence community continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, end of quote. But Netanyahu chose to attack, crippling diplomatic efforts and risking a full-blown regional war. He is now openly talking about regime change in Iran and threatening to kill the political leadership of that country without any thought to the chaos that might ensue. Let's also not forget that the current Islamic regime in Iran is itself the product of a Western-backed coup in 1953 that overthrew the democratically elected government of Iran and replaced it with a corrupt autocrat.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's like you're falling into this again. And I'm like, bro, so what are we doing? Third time's the fourth, fifth time the charm? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Like
question
can't do this forever.
Now is whether the United States will get dragged into Netanyahu's war. In my view, that would be a disaster. The United States must not be involved with another Netanyahu war, not militarily or financially. The United States Constitution is crystal clear. There can be no offensive use of military force against Iran or any other country without an explicit authorization from Congress. No such authorization exists, and any U.S. involvement would therefore be illegal. The United States has already provided hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right, bro. You want to see something crazy? You know, Anonymous dropped the video.
No, I didn't see it.
Bro, all right, guys, check this out. So, and this was released. Bro, Grok checked it, and it's been verified as real. So I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh shit. All right, guys, check this out. Video from Anonymous, pretty much warning us of, well, you know, I'm gonna let him talk.
Hello, my fellow citizens of America and others across the globe. This is the architect speaking on behalf of Anonymous. 17 days remain until we release everything. But first, there's something we feel the need to bring to light now. It may not be able to wait. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a warning based on extremely reliable intelligence. We have acquired verified information that a major attack is being planned on domestic soil. It will be brutal, it will be visible, and it will be blamed on a foreign faction, one from the Middle East. But that is a lie. The operation is a false flag, orchestrated not by a foreign enemy, but by an elite shadow alliance within a nation that poses as our greatest ally, but instead is a hyper-militarized power with deep influence through sexual blackmail in our intelligence, government, and media sectors. The goal? To drag us into their war, under the guise of retaliation.
And I ain't gonna lie, somebody else has said this too. Like, bro, what if people are getting their Epstein file pulled, getting the Epstein card pulled on them? Like, so we're gonna go into Iran and you guys are gonna sell it or else. Like, bro.
But the real motive isn't justice. It's control, resources, power. A goal they can only achieve by using us as their puppets. They know that once blood is spilled here, the public will beg for retribution. They're counting on your fear. They're counting on your outrage. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. This is not just about geopolitics. This is about the manipulation of a population through violence, fear, and engineered narrative. In the next few days, weeks, or months, this will happen. It's a guarantee. The irrefutable proof of what's being planned is in this message. You don't have to believe us now. Just know when you see it who the true terrorists are. It is not who they will say it is. It will come from none other than our own greatest ally. When you see it, you will understand the scale. You will understand the pattern. If we stay silent, we walk into the trap. But if we stand together, share the truth, and refuse to be played, we can stop it. Or at the very least, wake the nation and the world up to what's actually happening. You are not powerless. You are not alone. Prepare. Stay alert. And above all, think for yourself. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forget. We do not forget. Expect us.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. And that's what I'm saying. That dropped. I was like,
I said that last week. I think it was. If we don't just fall into line with Israel, we're going to get false flagged by Israel. Yeah.
Yep, they'll false flag. And I heard that as well. Shout out to my man Daniel Castro. He says, what did Iran mean by making history tonight that will be spoken of for decades? I saw a few posts about the message recently from Iran. Well, what I've been hearing and word around town is Iran's about to unleash a full missile strike full of hypersonic missiles, and it's gonna complete a complete bombardment on on Tel Aviv. And I believe Iran already initiated an evacuation of Tel Aviv. Like Iran initiated this. Now they haven't told us yet. Well, I'm gonna be real with you. Mainstream media haven't told us about this yet, but it's coming. It's gonna get real. So trust me, it is complete fear mongering. And trust me, Iran is wild because they posted that, and then they also posted their new missile. Well, not their new missile, but their hypersonic missile and all the specs of it. Actually, I think I can show you.
Israel over the last many decades. Last year alone, U.S. taxpayers provided more than $22 billion in military aid to Israel. Meanwhile, while providing massive aid to Israel, we have Americans sleeping out on the street, unable to afford health care or other basic necessities. Enough is enough. President Trump ran as a supposed peace candidate. In his inaugural address, he said, and I quote, "My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier," end quote. Very fine words. Trump should remember them today.
Please.
Supporting Netanyahu's war against Iran would be a catastrophic mistake. Instead of going to war, Trump must work with the international community to rein in Netanyahu and urgently push for a diplomatic solution. Netanyahu's illegal attack has made the world a more dangerous place. The United States must not be a part of this war. Thank you very much.
I mean, for the one time, man, for the one goddamn time, I mean, shut up, Bernie Sanders.
I disagree with how he got to that conclusion, but I completely agree with that conclusion.
Yeah, because I know too, because you already know how the left is going to radicalize it overly against Israel, but
yeah,
that's how they argue for some strange reason. But all right, we're going to take it all the way to the right, guys. And now you're going like, Seth, man, how far right can you possibly go? Well, I got you. Geez. Nick Fuentes right. That's how right we going, baby. We going Nick Fuentes right. All right, guys, let's get into Nick Fuentes' "I told you so" on Alex Jones.
He could be fashioning himself as some kind of like a messiah figure. And, you mentioned this earlier. We're approaching the summer solstice. The operation started on June 13th, 613, which is a very important number in Judaism. It's the number of commandments in the Jewish Bible, 613 commandments in the Mishnah Torah, where they lay them all out. You almost wonder then, is the next step a play for the temple? Once Iran is gone, with Hamas defeated, with the Palestinian question a domestic issue for Israel, does this pave the way for an annexation of the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the rebuilding of a third temple? I mean, for anybody that's a Christian, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, whatever sect of Christian you are, the idea that the temple could be rebuilt is a very ominous signal of the kind of biblical times that we're living in. For the Jews to be back in the Holy Land, for them to be unstoppable like they are. Now this idea that temple worship might begin again, and it being part of this really long-term, like millennia-old plan, it really freaks me out. I got the same kind of sick feeling in my stomach that you said you did last week, the same kind of molecular level, like kind of undescribable feeling. This has like a biblical significance. And I said on my show, you could take that one of two ways, either biblical, like apocalyptic, like terrifying, or biblical, like prophetic, like antichrist, like end times. I don't think we're outside of the bounds of what's being reasonable to say that, even if that's not the case, they certainly believe
and
it is.
we've got all these Christian
You know,
Zionists who, if you believe the Bible, which I do and read it, it says the fake Messiah comes and does this and rebuilds the temple. They're all saying this is great. They're going to worship, and Christian Zionists worship Israel, and whoever's in charge, they will then worship whoever the leader of Israel is, the Antichrist. As the Bible says, a great group of Christians will be deceived by a great delusion.
the big delusion that they're trying to put.
And look, it's okay to be Christian and all that, but like when you're like Charlie Kirk Christian and Israel's the end all be all, we must defend Israel because of the biblical meaning and all that good stuff. That is where you kind of lose people. It's like, yeah, though, but I mean, we need to sell out our country. Like, what are you, my man? Are you America first or Christian Zionist Israel first?
And I keep coming back to this because it's shocking to me, but also we need to be kind of proactive in the information war. A lot of people in the coming days are going to say, well, we had to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. You know, like, well, we trust Trump. He's the president. I trust him. He's the guy, this and that. If you zoom in to just this episode, if we pick up in the middle of the story, you might be convinced that that's the case. You know, like you said, believe what we're saying, don't believe what we're saying. You know, people might be tempted to zoom into this middle of the story and say, yeah, you know, Trump's sort of tenuous explanation is correct, and we do have to go in, or maybe it's excusable in some way. Once you zoom out and you look at the 60-year plan in the Middle East, it's unignorable what has been going on. They've said it about every state, every crisis, every country had nuclear bombs. Like you said, with the brief history, 9/11, Libya, it's all been part of the same program. And the question is, when are people going to take their own side as Americans? Yes, this is good for Israel. Israel's taking out their last competitor, their last adversary in the region. This is something they've been able to do probably for a long time, although they had to get some of the remaining pieces in place. What's good for America? I'm an American. I'm a Christian. The name of my show is America First, not some, you know, Protestant Jewish worship first, not Israel first. It's America first. This is another war where, one, it's extremely expensive. Two, it risks us getting involved in World War III. Three, this is something that has nothing to do with us. Forget about, you know, how it might hurt us or how it might kill Americans or risk further involvement. What's the benefit? What's the upside? Israel is liberated from all constraints. Israel becomes completely independent from the United States, has its own foreign policy. Why is that good for us? You know, people keep saying that. They say that, you know, well, Israel's going to have this strategic autonomy in the Middle East. They're going to carry out their own foreign policy. Why do we want that to be the case? Why would we want to hand off the most vital region to them? It's clear that the people that are pushing this idea, that are pushing this whole policy, they obviously don't have America's best interest in mind.
It's worse than that, because Israel pretty much already controls our foreign policy, at least in the Middle East.
And that's the problem. There's so many things that could happen. Like Israel already made the threat that are going to close off this trade route. That's this oil trade route. That's pretty much going to damn near cut off like what, 70% or something like that. I think it was something like 60% of the world. No, my bad. Not 60, 30% of the world's global oil. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to skyrocket oil prices. So Iran is damn near about to hold us hostage with oil prices at a certain, well, actually they are doing it right now. Yes, they're pretty much going to close down a trade route that's going to pretty much skyrocket oil prices because 30% of the global oil runs through that exact location.
So 30% of the oil that's flowing runs through Iran right now. We have oil reserves and we have strategic reserves that we can run through. That it's that I understand that argument, and that will create a problem, but not a problem we can't solve.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's drill baby drill, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just be official now that, oh, they're on their own and they buy, make some of their own weapons now. But no, anytime they need us to come in as the attack dog or need money, we'll be there. So we'll officially be the political slaves of whoever the Israeli prime minister is.
Well, and that's where people say, well, I don't care what happens in Israel. I only care about America. People say things like this. If you care about America, you have to care about our sovereignty and our independence. And that involves our ability to restrain our allies, not just to resist influence or subterfuge from our enemies, but also from our allies too. And it seems like that's lost on a lot of people.
I mean, he ain't lying. Not lying. Let me see here. Is that the... That's what man goes
I said last week, it's going to be regime change within a few days. On Iran, if they didn't make this deal. But Israel struck. Israel wants regime change. I said last week, it's going to be regime change within a few days. They said, oh, it's really regime change. There's the overall dishonesty about all of this. And then now Thomas Massey's introduced legislation to make them follow the Constitution. For a major war, you got congressional authorization. And then they're going to say, oh, we really don't need that. This is a crisis. Will there be a false flag?
Man, they're going to bush it. They're really about to bush it. Like, man.
I mean,
like,
so I think I don't think they're going to bush it. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get false flagged.
Yeah, but that's the only way they can do it is bushing it. It's like, yeah, they got to false flag it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go gun-ho into it. But shout out to Anonymous, and at least maybe like the 600 or so people that are watching, we saw it. So hopefully when we see it, guys, when we see it, we know what's going on here. Make sure you share that video, share that part of the video with the friends, man. Clip that part of the video, share it with your friends, guys.
And some of our bases get hit.
What you about to say, Monty?
I was going to say what scares me is our intelligence company or organizations are going to know it's a false flag. Like, and
but
if they lie about it, yeah.
And if we call it out, the scary part is that it was going to scare me if that censorship starts coming down and they say, oh, well, if you say anything, they're going to strike you down for misinformation because they're really trying to push this war. And anybody who says anything against the war is going to get hit with the censorship stick. That is what I hope don't happen. You don't hit us with the, the COVID.
I suppose it's Shiite militias, and it's not really Iran. But Iran is saying evacuate Tel Aviv and Haifa now. Here's my big question, Nick Fuentes. I want him to go wherever he wants. In the next hour, we got a Spaces open. We'll open the phones up for questions or comments for Nick or statements here. But I want to go through a lot of people quickly, so be ready for that. The Spaces is open at InfoWars, posted at Real Alex Jones on X right now, and obviously the phone system. I'll give the number out before we go to break here in about 30 minutes. But Nick, obviously it's the art of the deal. And Trump is putting maximum...
I mean, shout out to X. X done saved Alex Jones. Like when I see X and A saved Alex Jones, bro, this man's getting like 80K live viewers on X. Like crazy numbers on X. So yeah, X done saved Alex Jones.
Pressure right now to sound as brutal and cartoonish as possible with, oh yeah, Ayatollah, we're not going to kill you right now. Not yet. We know right where you are. We can kill you any minute. I'm stopping Netanyahu from killing you. I'll take unconditional surrender. And then Netanyahu saying, I'm not going to negotiate with you. He was saying that first. Looks like Trump's following that lead. Or obviously now Netanyahu says they're coordinating closely. Well, if that was the case, then why would Trump not be hardline earlier? What was he trying to make it look like he gave Iran a chance? And now he's doing what he has to do. But you've got the summer solstice coming up. They always love, those dates for launching wars, Thursday evening into Friday morning. I mean, we are on the real precipice of some stuff that is the most dangerous point in modern history because of the weapon systems we've got. I totally agree with Steve Bannon and every other analyst who's got half a brain. So Nick, answering that question, and then I got a lot of points I want to get to, but I want you to have the floor to go where you want to next.
Yeah, so, again, if Israel's strategic objective is regime change, I think the United States is that they want a deal. I think that Donald Trump went into office maybe naively thinking that he could use brinksmanship and, like you said, the maximum pressure strategy to have the art of the deal and make a deal where Iran is going to voluntarily denuclearize. I think certainly that tracks with Trump's theory of mind. I think that's what he's trying to pursue there. The question is Israel going to allow him to make the deal? And repeatedly and consistently, Israel's proven that they will not. Trump is totally unable to restrain Israel. They don't listen to him. They defy him. Like we were talking about last Monday, Trump said, let me finish diplomacy. We want to exhaust all the diplomatic options first before we carry out a strike. And it seems that Israel, without permission, without the go-ahead, went ahead on that 61st day outside the 60-day deadline for Trump's ultimatum and carried out the unilateral strikes. Throughout the weekend, Trump is saying well, we might still make a deal. He's instructing the State Department to meet with their Iran's foreign minister, maybe to have some kind of last minute deal. And like you said, putting out on True Social, well, we could kill the Ayatollah. We might get involved. We want an end to all of this. You could say he's really pushing the maximalist version of brinksmanship right now. I think, though, that once you consider that Israel is never going to stop, they launched this attack on Thursday really on their own timeline. They said it was preemptive. Preempting what? I mean, there was no imminent threat. Iran was not on the cusp of a nuclear bomb, wasn't on the verge of attacking Israel. They made it up. They chose the day. They carried out the strike. We're on their timetable. They are going to push, and they're going to exacerbate the situation until it's really unavoidable that the United States gets involved. And so I think maybe there's some aspect of Trump, or maybe an element inside Trump's team, that thinks they're going to sit down with the leaders of Iran. There's some speculation that Vance might go out there and make a deal himself. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's off the table. When you consider especially that Iran is getting pummeled right now. The precondition for any kind of diplomacy with Iran is that Israel stops.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, we want to see a peace to this. Israel would have to stop aggressing, and then we'd have to hope on a prayer that Iran would. Is either that or Israel just completely decimates Iran or whoop their ass, and then there you go. But, or, you know, worst case scenario, what we all pray that don't happen is that we get involved and we just squash the whole thing.
They're not willing to do that. And they're not willing to do that because if there's a ceasefire, the only party that benefits is Iran. Israel has established air superiority over the country. They're raining down drones and airstrikes on Iran's strategic and even civilian infrastructure all the time. I mean, basically, without...
Yo, Monty, you say you need to deliver a fact check?
Yeah, so there's a couple of people in the chat that are saying that Iran shot down a F-35. And I wanted to bring just a little bit of wisdom to that, because I know exactly what picture they're talking about that's circulating around. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, that it has not been verified. I had ran and shot down an Israeli jet, right?
Yeah, so I can tell you it's not a real picture. If you can pull the picture up on the thing, I can tell you exactly how it's not a real picture.
All right, let me see if I can go ahead and pull it up here.
Without ceasing, without stop for the past 5 days. The idea that they give up, it's the same kind of proposition as Russia having a ceasefire in Ukraine. Israel's winning the war. They're not going to give up. And so I think that strategy was basically ill-fated. And I know that a lot of people had confidence in Trump. And I sort of did in a spiritual sense that, you know, I don't think that in his heart of hearts he wants a war or wanted a war going into the second term. But I always suspected that he would be forced into one. And that there's that key word is forced, dragged, sucked into a war by Israel, because that is what they've always wanted. So, you know, now here we are. It's Tuesday afternoon. There's a huge military buildup in the region. They've rerouted one aircraft carrier from the Indo-Pacific. It joins an existing aircraft carrier that's out there. They're deploying a number of destroyers, fighter jets, refueling aircraft. Now, the latest is they say that U.S. naval vessels are deploying in the Persian Gulf from Bahrain. I think we're going to see some serious U.S. intervention. Like you said, maybe the timeline is Thursday and Friday, but certainly before the end of the week. And the question is, for a lot of these MAGA supporters, there's going to need to be some introspection. How did we get here? People had so much optimism and confidence. They said it was a golden age. No new wars. He's going to end everything. This is the president of peace. And now we're staring down the barrel of yet another Middle Eastern war. And so many of them, rather than say the obvious, which is either we were tricked or, you know, we're forced into this by bad actors, a lot of people are trying to find ways to defend this and to explain it away and say, you know, it's really not so bad.
All right, so actually I'm looking into it now, and let me see if you find the picture here, because actually there's actually even a video that's been produced now. So if we go,
not that picture. That's that's that one right there. Okay, open that one up.
All right. Now, let me go ahead and give the pilot who carried out the airstrike on Hadara has been captured. At the moment, an Israeli pilot has been arrested after his jet crashed as a result of being shot down by Iran's defense force.
Okay.
Now,
so couple things. The look at the cockpit up at the front. You see how it's metal behind the head? The
Yeah.
F-35's window goes all the way back so that you can see behind yourself. They wouldn't that's not an F-35 for one. Also, since when does an engine why is it still lit? Like it looks like a cigar.
we like they just shot it down. And then
Yeah,
hey, guess what? It came with a video. Apparently he's still living. Yeah. I don't know.
BS.
I don't know what the
Buddy,
hell that was.
Buddy would have ejected like way before that.
Exactly. But yeah, this is what they keep showing though. Oh, but they actually hold on. Is this the video? By the way, Iran also shattered America's pride by shooting down an F-35 fighter jet. Yeah, they keep saying it, and here's the video they're claiming is proof. Oh shit! But maybe they did.
No.
Whoa! Maybe they did.
It's
I'm gonna go ahead and check the verification on that video though. But I mean, if they did, holy
it's
shit.
not even like if you look at the picture that they're showing, it's not even an F-35. Like the fuselage isn't correct, the lower wing isn't correct.
But does Israel have anything else besides F-35 though? Like, do they have anything else matching that?
They have F-35s. They don't have anything that looks like that's not a real plane.
But you are right though. They are reporting it as an F-35.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
there's no US plane that looks like that. And the reason it's posed like that is so that they can put the Star of David in the picture. It's completely fake.
I don't know. I'm seeing all these. All right, so I guess this is the actual video right here coming straight from Tehran. You actually see it shoot.
That's a video. Hold on. That video is from a video game.
It's from where?
That's from Arma. That's a video game.
Gotcha. Really? Awesome. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. So, all right, perfect. We're catching the misinformation as it comes in. So, but this one right here, though, I was looking for community notes on it on my phone, and okay, here we go. I haven't really found any which model. Here it is. You're right. Here it is. Aircraft appears to be a Mirchevik based on the distinct. Yeah, hold on. Let me go ahead and pull it up here so we can get the exact debunking of this. This is it right here.
Yep.
This is the actual picture. Well, that was a fun ride, was it not? I know, right? We had y'all going like, is it real? Is it real? No, guys. No, it is not. But hey, man, we're gonna get to the bottom of it until we get the
platform just because of the way it was, like the way it looked.
I mean, hey, man, shout out to Montgomery though. Hey, appreciate you catching that one.
I mean, I saw it like 5 or 6 times in the chat. Oh, they just shot down a thing and they arrested a U.S. soldier, and I was like, no, they didn't. Like that.
See, I was in the Iranian chats, and they didn't even say that one. They said it was reported, but they haven't confirmed anything. I was like, okay, well, even in the pro-Iran chats, they keep it real. And trust me, when I was in there, it was a whole lot of death to Israel. So I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was like, damn, y'all get the information, but y'all wild.
They captured a female pilot too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
After all, I was watching Fox News earlier. Greg Gutfeld on the 5 came on and said we need to forget the legacy of Libya, Afghanistan, and Iraq. He said the lessons of the past 20 years is you don't intervene in the Middle East. These are unnecessary wars. They have these unintended consequences. He said, but we need to forget all that and trust Trump. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. This is as apocalyptic as they say it is. And I'm sitting here like, does everybody have amnesia? I feel like it's deja vu all over again. This is Iraq. This is Libya. This is every cautionary tale that we've lived through for the past 20, 30 years. I heard people, I guess, that are older than me maybe lived through it.
And now the world's more upset. Now the Chinese and Russians have moved in more. Now the economy's on the verge of collapse. And the stakes are much higher. They've got more advanced weapons. There's 90 million of them. This is biting off a really big chunk here. And then we've got very sophomoric stuff by Mark Levin, where I posted saying I support Tucker Carlson trying to stop nuclear war, and he goes, "Oh, lovely couple." This is the type of sophomoric stuff we get. Speaking of couples, there he is with Rabbi Shmuley. So I mean, this is the point we're at. And then, to your point that we're already at war, Trump, we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. So it's we. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured.
Now, there was this picture right here. It's like the only other picture I can find that was like this.
All right. Look at that. Look at how big that jet is compared to people.
Exactly. Bro, and here's the BS they was trying to say. There was like a photo of the Israeli F-35 jet that was shot down in Iran. I didn't expect it to be this large. The first thing that came to my mind was how massive must be the missile to be carrying be. And I'm like, bruh.
Bruh, it looks like that would be a space. It's the wings aren't even correct on it for it to be an F-35.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
the profile
even then, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. The profile don't even fit.
Yeah. And then you have like 100 people standing around it, and it makes them look tiny.
It's short.
Extra stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. And then unconditional surrender. And we haven't killed the mullah yet. We can kill him any minute we want. I mean, this is just wild escalatory stuff. And then I said this when they tried to kill Trump in Butler. Within 3 days, they rolled out. I said, I bet they try to blame this on Iran. With no evidence, they tried to connect crooks to it. Then they came back out and said, but Iran's got surface air missiles. They're going to kill candidate Trump. And I said, clearly, that's the deep state trying to create a cover story so they can kill Trump and then have an excuse to go after Iran. Trump then says, then and later, which I said was insane, if I get killed, it's Iran, blow them off the map.
All right, I know I'm being petty. But
someone said it was enlarged. So they enlarged the plane, but not the people.
Yeah, but hey, that does got that feature that you was talking about right here, though.
Yeah, that one's it's not metal. You can see behind it. Like the Israelis aren't just going to install something behind them so they can no longer see behind them.
Crazy
map. And then now Netanyahu goes on 2 days ago. We'll play the clip here in a moment. And says, oh, yes, he's the target number one. I'm target number two. And, oh, yes, they can still try to kill him. I mean, doesn't Trump understand Netanyahu is heavy globalist deep state and that they don't like Trump actually trying to be the boss and that they would absolutely false flag him the minute they could to blame Iran? And then that goes into other false flags. Well, they set off a nuke and say Iran did it. I mean, God knows what's about to happen to U.S. forces as a pretext, a U.S. liberty type deal. Here's Netanyahu looking particularly weasel-like, and that says a lot.
Talk about the nuclear threat, and I want to talk about President Trump. You just said Iran tried to assassinate President Trump twice. Do you have intel that the assassination attempts on President Trump were directly from Iran?
Through proxies, yes. Through their intel, yes. They
baseless. And I hate it when he made that statement. I'm like, bro, you got to prove that, because the fact that you know that and we don't, like, how you know about the assassination more than we do, and who's the culprit?
There was some chatter before the election that, like, from our intelligence, that Iran was planning an assassination attempt, but I think Netanyahu's both.
They try to say that Iran was the drones as well.
What drones?
Remember the drones in New Jersey?
Oh, the ones just flying over. Yeah. Those were like the clowns from like 2015. Everybody was just flying their drones because it was giving them attention.
Yeah, true. But now let's get over to this wild piece of propaganda. Man, hear this out.
What if your biggest ally had a plan named and aimed at your annihilation? America doesn't have to imagine. Israel has a plan based on their nuclear weapons capabilities. And even our own Army's School of Advanced Military Studies, just one day before 9/11, told us they can attack America and make it seem like Arabs did it, due to Mossad's ruthlessness. In newly leaked documents, they show that if they lose, they will not just attack enemies, but Washington, D.C., New York, L.A., NORAD in Colorado, London, Paris, Berlin. Jewish American investigative journalist Seymour Hersh warned us about this 25 years ago. A plan that is threatening millions of innocent civilians. And that plan doesn't stop with us.
Well, quite the propaganda piece, huh?
Yeah.
Want to kill him. Look, he's enemy number one. He's a decisive leader. He never took the path that others took to try to bargain with him in a way that is weak, giving them basically a pathway to enrich uranium, which means a pathway to the bomb, padding it with billions and billions of dollars. He took up this fake agreement and basically tore it up. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He made it very clear, including now, you cannot have a nuclear weapon, which means you cannot enrich. He's been very forceful. So for them, he's enemy number one.
Yeah.
Look, they also tried to kill me, but I'm his junior partner.
When did
they understand that President Trump is a great threat to Iran's plans to weaponize nuclear weapons and use them.
When did you tell President Trump you were going to launch these strikes?
Look, I've been in constant contact with President Trump. We've known each other for many years. And obviously, we informed our American friends and President Trump, our great friend, ahead of time. We did. He knew about it, of course.
I mean, there were reports that President Trump kind of helped you achieve your strategic surprise by publicly urging you not to attack when he already knew you had decided to do it. So you were closely coordinating with the U.S. throughout this process.
Look, we're fully coordinated, but understand that America, under President Trump, will make the decisions that are best for America. And that's the way it is. He understands that I, as the Prime Minister of Israel, the one and only Jewish state, must make the decisions that are important for the survival of my country, and he will do what is best for America. That is a relationship of mutual respect and mutual confidence.
Wow.
Mutual respect, the Israel lobby at the...
Wow, petty. Oh, I ain't gonna lie, it's better than what I was seeing on X. I ain't gonna lie, things was getting a bit homoerotic.
The heart of censoring Americans, the heart of open borders, the heart of all of it. And there's Trump being walked right into an assassination false flag. Netanyahu, I'm very good at body language and watched him for decades. He looked like he was dying a few months ago at the White House when Trump spanked him and then reportedly yelled at him behind the scenes. And then now Netanyahu looks like he is, I've never seen Netanyahu so happy. He gets to essentially rule global policy and play God with all of this. And as you pointed out, truly with like the WEF and the UN penetrate the cabinets as one globalist bloc, Israel penetrates the cabinets. And by doing this, this unpopular person in Israel who was desperate can now hold everyone hostage and become even more powerful, and I guess stay in power another 25 years. I mean, this is just beyond nightmarish, Nick Fuentes.
I mean, yeah, like Bibi can like escape his war crimes, somehow escape his corruption crimes, and just ride off into the sunset as what, Israel's overall ruler? Yeah, I mean, let's hope that don't happen.
We need to look at, like, let's just take a step back and look at what everybody's motivation for everything that they're kind of hinting towards and pushing towards would be. Like, let's look at it from Bibi's. Like you just said, he's got a lot of people gunning for him right now. He's committed a lot of war crimes. He's on trial for corruption. This would be very convenient for a world war to break out, and Bibi looks like Winston Churchill. You know, Iran has their thing. They want to they want to eradicate the infidel. That's the Muslim jihadist message, and it has been for forever. And Trump wants to put tariffs on everybody and bring manufacturing back to America. So now it seems like Trump also wants to not get involved, but he wants to appear as if he solved the problem.
Yeah, appear as strong as possible, and honestly but here's the thing though, it's like, I don't know, it's just his message is a bit unclear right now. Like, are we going into this or not? We're yelling at this man Trump, don't do it, but we're hoping that he's listening to us and not the warmongers in his cabinet. So
yeah, I think eventually Trump will make whatever the right decision is, and he will believe it's the right decision. Because Lord knows there's probably a million pieces of the puzzles moving around right now. Exactly. I think he's going to make whatever decision is best. And we'll probably never get to know what went into him making that decision, whatever it is. But, you know, it's all you can hope for is that he honestly has our best interests, which I believe he does. That's why I voted for him. That's why 77 million Americans voted for him to represent us.
If he stays out of it, then I'm gonna continue having that, feeling of like, all right, man, what's best for us. But as soon as he tries to put boots on the ground, then I'm just like, all right, bro, hold on now. We're about to lose Americans here.
I'm not. So I don't want to take the stance that, as soon as he puts boots on the ground, because if something happens to us, I fully expect him to be very
without us being like, hit or anything happening to us. If we literally put boots on the ground just off, Israel is like going through some hard times that they got themselves into.
Their ass whooped. Yeah,
I would be pretty disappointed. I'd be like, all right, come on now.
Yeah,
like, no. Now if they hit us, okay, fine. Yeah, they got to get it, and we got to make sure they can never do it again.
That's the crazy thing is like, will we know if it's really Iran hitting us or if it's just Israel attacking us?
I mean, that's
like, will we know?
The way Anonymous dropped that warning, he's like, look, man, just stay just stay vigilant and just keep your head on the swivel because apparently it's coming. And we were warned at least.
It is nightmarish. This is the sum of all fears, so to speak. You and I, you've been doing this longer than me. I've been doing for quite a bit, but throughout both of our careers, literally for decades, throughout the entirety of both of our careers, it has been this story, which is Israel wanting this confrontation with Iran. And we've seen the charts and the warnings and the deadlines. Literally for 25, 30 years, Netanyahu's gone before the General Assembly of the UN and gone in the press and said, Iran is weeks away from a nuclear bomb. They're going to have it. He urged Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, and now in the second term, he's urged every administration for 25 years to strike Iran. Now it's finally happening. And I guess what's terrifying is how we were able to be sleptwalked into another war, because the casus belli is identical to Iraq. The buildup, this kind of spurious claim about weapons of mass destruction, the fabricated intelligence, these kind of bald-faced lies, Netanyahu going in the press like he is now and talking about this threat that doesn't exist, assassination attempts against Trump. It's literally the exact same playbook from every war for the past 25 years, from Iraq to Syria to Libya, every single one. And now it's happening all over again. And I think the next chapter is really what's disturbing. And you alluded to it. You said, what's the play? He's going to be in power for 25 more years. When you put it all together, every single piece for 45 years, you realize this was a systematic plan from the very beginning by Israel to take out every single one of their enemies through all these different wars. And on the other side of this confrontation with Iran, what awaits is complete Israeli hegemony over the Middle East. They're the only country with a nuclear bomb. They're the only country that is an intelligence and spying superpower. There will be no country that can oppose them. Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Qatar are all far too fragile. They have a restive population, Shiite minorities. They've got a huge population.
Israel's going to target them next.
Well, and they might not. They can dominate them. And I think that's why, here's a little key that a lot of people aren't talking about. Increasingly, Saudi Arabia has been moving towards Iran. It was unthinkable. Saudi Arabia and Israel were simpatico in their proxy war against Iran for the past 15 years. All of a sudden, in the past two, Saudi Arabia has moved very close to Iran. They've been conducting joint military exercises.
And closer to Russia.
And closer to Russia and China. Saudi Arabia joined BRICS. And the reason they are having a rapprochement with Iran is because they recognize that once Iran is gone, Israel dominates everybody. Now Saudi Arabia is the complete suzerain They're completely subordinate to Israel. And the question is, what happens then when Israel controls the Persian Gulf, the Suez? They control this landmass in the center of Asia, Europe, and Africa. All these Belt and Road highways and ports and sea routes, the IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor, all of that will be under their control. And I think it's not far-fetched to say this is.
Now, I mean, far-fetched, it does kind of reach that realm to say that Israel, little Israel is going to take all the Middle East. That's a wild.
That's been their plan.
Yeah, that is true. The Greater Israel plan, but even when you look at the map of Greater Israel, it's not the whole Middle East.
Well, it's not even the Greater Israel plan. It's the clean break, what Dave Smith was talking about.
Oh, like they feel safe. They gotta kind of destabilize everybody else around them.
Yeah, you gotta complete, and they've done it all. And their last check mark is Iran.
Low key, destabilize Iran, and now you guys just run it, just off the fact that you're the only stable country in the building.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It's like a play.
Well, wait. Before though, we move on though. I gotta make sure, Steph. You have something to say?
Well, JD Conservative brought this up earlier today, and then now I'm seeing Godspeed say the same thing. If Godspeed, if you want to come up here, I would love it if you would come up here to explain it better than I can. It's about sleeper cells, and JD and Godspeed are right. They're waking up.
I mean, Godspeed is also the guy that was in the chat talking about how Iran shooting down F-35s, and we just proved all that was fake. So.
Now, here's the thing, though. They do fearmonger on the sleeper cells because, all the illegals that came in here, and
we don't
who
know.
knows what type of cells are in here now. Sleeper cells, maybe not, but terrorist, little mini terrorist cells, you never know.
It's an unverifiable possibility.
And we won't know until it pops off. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know until it's too late.
And no,
we already let him in.
But it's also a weird coincidence that 2 people so far nearby Philadelphia had literally, the one guy had 12 bombs in his place, ready to go.
Where was this?
In Chester. Nearby Philadelphia.
Chester, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Right.
He was one of the No King protesters.
Which man, the only one I know is about the one that ended up shooting and killing somebody in Utah. That's the only one I know that got crazy.
Oh no, there's another one
found in home of man arrested at No King's Rally in West Chester, Pennsylvania. 13 improvised explosive devices found in home of man arrested near Pennsylvania. No King's protest. DA says, "Yeah, no, this is legitimate news."
Oh shit!
Well, I would hope I would know, because I am in Pennsylvania.
Of course, but it's just like, whoa! When you set it off the rip, it was just like
nowadays.
Like what? Hold on, protester got all the explosive devices at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we like to hear. And this was a No King's protester, so verified on the left, huh? Yeah, we got radicals on both sides apparently. I mean, we still haven't verified if the Minnesota shooter was a complete, outright, conservative or Trump supporter either,
or just a Chinese plant.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanna go to Robin Howard in the chat. She said, "Can we talk about how Trump backed out of the JCPOA back in 2018?" Yeah, because that was a horrible, horrible deal, and it did nothing to stop Iran from enriching uranium. There was no consequences for them to do it. That's why he backed out of it.
First superpower status.
All right, now we know.
And people can say, they're a tiny country with a small population. So was Great Britain. Great Britain was a tiny island. In the era of AI and technology and spying, Israel
and
with
if you got the U.S., if you got the U.S. doing whatever you say, you are the superpower.
Precisely. With their spies and Cyanim, their representatives in every capital, from Washington to Europe to Moscow. Russia's staying out of this one. They're not protecting Iran. This is something like a global empire, like a King Solomon. Every country's coming to pay tribute. They sit in the center of the world island, the crossroads between all the critical minerals, the world's industry.
Okay, things are getting a little biblical right now.
China
is the Messiah.
He could be. He could be fashioning himself as some kind of like a Messiah figure. And, you know, you mentioned this earlier. We're approaching the summer solstice. The operation started on June 13th, 613, which is a very important number in Judaism. It's the number of commandments in the Jewish Bible, 613 commandments in the Mishnah Torah, where they lay them all out. You almost wonder then, is the next step a play for the temple? Once Iran is gone, with Hamas defeated, with the Palestinian question a domestic issue for Israel, does this pave the way for an annexation of the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the rebuilding of a third temple? I mean, for anybody that's a Christian, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, whatever sect of Christian you are, the idea that the temple could be rebuilt is a very ominous signal of the kind of biblical times that we're living in. You know, I mean, for the Jews to be back in the Holy Land, for them to be unstoppable like they are. Now this idea that temple worship might begin again, and it being part of this really long-term, like millennia-old plan, it really freaks me out. I got the same kind of sick feeling in my stomach that you said you did last week, the same kind of molecular level, like kind of undescribable feeling. This has like a biblical significance. And I said on my show, you could take that one of two ways, either biblical, like apocalyptic, like terrifying, or biblical, like prophetic, like antichrist, like end times. I don't think we're outside of the bounds of what's being reasonable to say that, you know, even if that's not the case, they certainly believe it is.
And we've got all these Christian Zionists who, if you believe the Bible, which I do and read it, it says the fake Messiah comes and does this and rebuilds the temple. They're all saying this is great. They're going to worship, and Christian Zionists worship Israel, and whoever's in charge, they will then worship whoever the leader of Israel is, the Antichrist. As the Bible says, a great group of Christians will be deceived by a great delusion. And so we are, it looks like, seeing it fulfilled. And it's so bizarre. They will worship the first, the Antichrist. They will worship the false Messiah. And it's all set up. It's all there. But let's cut right to it before we come back next hour and get into other issues and take spaces, comments, and questions and phone calls with Nick Fuentes. And whether you like Nick or hate Nick or like me or hate me, we disagree on some things, agree on others. We're giving you real history. These are the real players, and we're saying it's bad. You can think it's good. You can think the Antichrist is great. I understand. You may like that. That's what the Bible says. You'll be delusional. I understand it. It's okay. But
it's like, yeah, it's cool. You'll be a willful idiot that's gonna push us towards world domination. It's all good, man.
Like, bro, I mean, Israel. I mean, what was it with Hamas where they were like, "This isn't about land. This isn't about land," and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're absolutely trying to take over land.
Yeah. Well, they wanted some of their land back, if
yeah,
is how they say it.
Regardless, at the end of the day, why am I against Netanyahu? Netanyahu was the king neocon with the neocons that were heavily involved in 9/11, fingerprints all over. And our government was involved too. Neocons, both sides. And everybody in Congress knows it. Everybody knows it. And that launched this whole thing in the last 20-something years. So just in the Lavon affair and the King David Hotel bombing, on and on. So all this, we're victims and we're fighting radical Islam, bullcrap. You created Hamas down the line. They tell Gaddafi, come in, invest your money here. He opens up to the West, believes Obama's his buddy. They go set him up, kill him. And that's not just Israel. It's all these players. And you've got all this happening, and NATO starting the war with Russia on record, moving missiles up, doing the sneak attack, bringing the drone parts in. Same thing in Iran. Yeah, boy.
Look, I mean, and so all Gaddafi did was what? Pretty much try to create like United States of Africa. Isn't that pretty much what bro's plan was?
Yeah.
And then you get assassinated. Oh, yeah. And also separate from the World Bank, gold back, put the money on gold back, and damn near make Africa completely independent of the USA. They wouldn't even need our petrodollar. So, man.
Zelensky and Israel and everybody, they're really good at sneaking things in and blowing things up. What do you think 9/11 was, folks? And okay, so this is where we are. And so do not forget the reality, Nick Fuentes.
That's right. It's he is the king neocon, and people really need to look at the bigger picture here. The big delusion that they're trying to push, and I keep coming back to this because it's shocking to me, but also we need to be kind of proactive in the information war. A lot of people in the coming days are going to say, well, we had to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Well, we trust Trump. He's the president. I trust him. He's the guy, this and that. If you zoom in to just this episode, if we pick up in the middle of the story, you might be convinced that that's the case. Like you said, believe what we're saying, don't believe what we're saying. People might be tempted to zoom into this middle of the story and say, yeah, Trump's sort of tenuous explanation is correct, and we do have to go in, or maybe it's excusable in some way. Once you zoom out and you look at the 60-year plan in the Middle East, it's unignorable what has been going on. They've said it about every state, every crisis, every country had nuclear bombs. Like you said, with the brief history, 9/11, Libya, it's all been part of the same program. And the question is, when are people going to take their own side as Americans? Yes, this is good for Israel. Israel's taking out their last competitor, their last adversary in the region.
We went after everybody that they laid out for us, and this is the last one. But here's the thing, though. Hopefully we tell Israel this time, you know what, bro? You got this. You got it.
I don't think they need us. Like, whatever their plan is, I don't think they need us.
All right, well, get ready for this wild statement, guys.
And our leaders are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country. I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt. The Supreme Court is corrupt. The Justice Department is corrupt. The news media is corrupt. The whole country is corrupt because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you. You won't do it because you're scared that the truth may get out to the American people. I'm had it up to here with the corruption in this country. Little children being raped for the benefit of Israel. That's all it's about, Doc. Little American children being raped for the benefit of Israel. American politicians raping little American girls to be videotaped by Israeli Mossad so that Israel can blackmail American politicians. That's the state of America today. God ought to destroy this country for what we've become.
God damn.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. Wild clip of the night, huh? But yeah, that was quite the opinion.
Last one was the wild clip of the night. You're just outdoing yourself.
I was like, holy crap, when I heard that, man. I was like, well, he kind of got a point with the whole Mossad thing, and it did bring some ideas to my head, like, yo, what if this is all a Mossad pull? Like, what if they are pulling the Epstein files on guys? And I mean, what if there is some truth to this whole, they're not releasing it because certain people are on it and they need these people to stay, compromised. But
I mean, that was that could be that is their blackmail. Yeah.
Yeah, we all know it's the blackmail. So who knows? Like, and I'm not saying that Trump's on it, but let's say that all the neocons are on it, or even some of his, guys who are close to him, and they're just being pushed. Like, hey, look, man, if you don't get Trump into this war, I promise you we're going to expose you. Who knows? Or if Trump, you don't get into this war, I promise you we'll expose you. Who knows?
Or it could just be a bunch of foreigners too. Like it wasn't just Americans that were going over there.
I mean, true. That is very true. I mean, well, with Prince Charles and all that, like, of course, royalty got involved.
Yeah.
This is something they've been able to do probably for a long time, although they had to get some of the remaining pieces in place. What's good for America? I'm an American. I'm a Christian. The name of my show is America First, not some, Protestant Jewish worship first, not Israel first. It's America first. This is another war where, one, it's extremely expensive. Two, it risks us getting involved in World War III. Three, this is something that has nothing to do with us. Forget about, how it might hurt us or how it might kill Americans or risk further involvement. What's the benefit? What's the upside? Israel is liberated from all constraints. Israel becomes completely independent from the United States, has its own foreign policy. Why is that good for us? People keep saying that. They say that, Israel's going to have this strategic autonomy in the Middle East. They're going to carry out their own foreign policy. Why do we want that to be the case? Why would we want to hand off the most vital region to them? It's clear that the people that are pushing this idea, that are pushing this whole policy, they obviously don't have America's best interest in mind.
Well, it's worse than that, because Israel pretty much already controls our foreign policy, at least in the Middle East. And so it'll just be official now that, they're on their own and they make some of their own weapons now. But no, anytime they need us to come in as the attack dog or need money, we'll be there. So we'll officially be the political slaves of whoever the Israeli prime minister is.
Well, and that's where people say, well, I don't care what happens in Israel. I only care about America. People say things like this. If you care about America, you have to care about our sovereignty and our independence. And that involves our ability to restrain our allies, not just to resist influence or subterfuge from our enemies, but also from our allies too. And it seems like that's lost on a lot of people. So it's interesting. We started out 10 years ago, almost to the day, it was yesterday, Trump coming down the golden escalator. And his message was one of American sovereignty, American independence, nationalism versus globalism. And it ends 10 years later with it being official. We are slaves to Israel. Our country is now a vassal and a suzerain of Israel. And we knew it all along. It's been the case.
Well, let's come right back. Certainly on this foreign policy, I have spent a lot of time.
Yeah, that boy Fuentes was going off on that matter. But now let's go down memory lane real quick. And then we're going to go take a look at what's happening on the left. But let's take a trip down memory lane, guys. Remember when Benjamin Netanyahu just told us all of this?
The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years. By next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage.
This is why we found it stupid sometimes. I was like, dog. I mean, if that's the case, Iran's late. They late as hell.
Remember, he's technically not lying, because he said they're doing it at a much faster rate than Iraq. Iraq had nothing, so anything times 0 is 0. So he's not lying.
I mean, well, when you say it like that.
From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb. The foremost sponsor of global terrorism could be weeks away from having enough enriched uranium for an entire arsenal of nuclear weapons. That would place a militant Islamic terror regime weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years. By next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb. The foremost sponsor of global terrorism could be weeks away from having enough enriched uranium for an entire arsenal of nuclear weapons. That would place a militant Islamic terror regime weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also...
And that is wild. Now, all right, now let's go over to
How much?
Yeah.
How much does one of those like electronic billboards in the middle of Times Square cost? We just need to play that over and over and over again in the middle of Times Square.
Oh man, don't they spend like 100,000 maybe just for the day of the on
Hey,
there? Just,
I need everybody to super chat so S.E.T can afford a billboard.
man, on Times Square is gonna play Benjamin Netanyahu over and over again. So
Over
everybody
and
just
over
looks at
again.
it and be like, remember, guys, we were here before. He said this before many, many times. And guess what? It wasn't then, it wasn't that wasn't the situation then, and
It's
it
the
most
boy.
likely isn't the situation now.
It's the war criminal who cried wolf.
I'm telling you, guess what? But you know what's crazy? Until it finally came true, and now these guys are at 60% enrichment.
I hope that. I don't know what to believe. Like, it's like I want to believe them because Iran is openly, like, Iran on their own is chanting death to America. But what do you?
But then when you get all right, but let's get behind the reason. I know I may sound crazy when I say this, but let's get behind the reason they say that. Why do they say this?
Because they want
Like,
to destabilize Iran, just like they have every other.
No. Why does Iran say death to America?
Oh, because I mean, we're screwing up the
Middle East while pretty much backing up Israel, and they've watched us topple multiple regimes, and they know we have something again. They know we don't like their way of life, and we want to death to their culture and to most of their regimes.
Yeah, I mean, it could if we just denounce Israel. I'm a Christian man, and this is going to sound like blasphemy, but you got to keep emotions out of this. You got to keep religion out of this because religion's what starts wars. If we just stop kowtowing down to Netanyahu or Israel, it might be a little bit easier to negotiate with Iran. Honestly,
that's what we thought. Honestly, I think that's what even Iran thought. Iran thought when we pushed Bibi to the side and told him to stay in the corner while we handle things in the Middle East, that's when Iran started opening up talks. So, and then Iran was probably surprised when he was when he lifted the sanction off Syria. Iran's like, oh, bro, you lifting sanctions off Syria? Hold on, let me talk to him now. Like he's lifting sanctions, and now we just do them like this. I could see kind of why they're just like, you know what, F it, I can't trust you. I thought I can trust y'all. I guess we're just going to war.
I mean, but we have been at war with the Islamic State or the Muslim way of life since this country's been a thing. The Barbary pirates, there's a reason Marines are called leathernecks because they put, pieces of leather on their neck so they couldn't get beheaded while fighting Barbary pirates. So we have a long history with Islamic extremists.
Yeah, something about beheading. Those guys just love beheading.
They do.
I don't know what it is.
So do the French.
Man, it does. I always do say heads on sticks, man. It always does send a message. Like you know what that guy's about. All right, let's get into CNN.
The world is really waiting for word from the American president while the skies over both cities look and sound like this. Warning signs in Israel for waves of incoming missiles from Iran, most intercepted by the Iron Dome, though some, as we've seen play out in recent days, are getting through. There are also new explosions in Tehran as Israel is warning an entire district of that city to evacuate tonight. Our sources are telling us that at the White House, President Trump is weighing using U.S. aircraft and bombs to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. A senior Israeli official says they're also waiting to learn whether or not the president is going to help them achieve their goal of destroying Iran's nuclear program.
Come on.
The president huddled with his national security team in the Situation Room for over an hour today on this very issue. You can see generals and cabinet secretaries entering and then leaving.
And that is why this whole propaganda of Israel just whooping their ass is kind of just like, are y'all sure? Then why are y'all waiting for our assistance? As if, you guys just can't clean it up yourself.
The White House complex throughout the day.
Yeah, man, tell me about it.
As the White House confirmed that also behind the scenes, the president was on the phone with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, though neither the administration nor Israel offered a readout of what was said. We didn't see the president in front of the cameras today, but when we questioned him overnight about where he stood on Iran, this is what he told us on Air Force One.
They've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They shouldn't have done the deal. The cities have been blown to pieces, have lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate.
The president took to Truth Social before a meeting in the Situation Room today where he wrote this, quote, "We now have complete and total control over the skies over Iran." The key word there is the first one, we. He followed that with, "We know."
That's why that misinformation was spreading, because I guess it was just Iran or those who want Iran to win to be pretty much just saying, oh, you want to brag about your planes? Well, we'll just spread misinformation that we shot it down.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, exactly where the so-called supreme leader is
Israel
hiding.
bombs their media site live on TV.
Bruh.
That
I told you, that's gonna be the clip of the entire war. Lady was literally just giving her a spiel and just boom, boom. You know what, I'm a
He's
play.
an easy target, but he's safe there. We are not going to take him out, at least not
Legendary
for now.
moment.
And then in all caps, the president demanded, quote, "unconditional surrender." If the president does order a U.S. strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, there are still major questions this evening about what could follow, including whether that U.S. strike would be guaranteed to reach Iran's most precious nuclear sites, which are built into mountains deep underground. Is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
It's on everything or anything on life, you know that. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program? Or where's your assessment of that?
I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before that. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
I want to get straight to CNN's Anderson Cooper, who is live in Amman, Jordan tonight.
Actually, quick little report. An Israeli power plant, and this video was verified by Grok and Reuters. So Reuters also released this video that an Israeli power plant pretty much was hit. And here's the video right here. I mean, great. But all right back to it.
Where missiles have been passing overhead. And Anderson, obviously, I should note the reason you're there. The airspace over Israel is closed as you're making your way there. You have to drive to actually get there. What are we seeing and hearing on the ground over there tonight?
Yeah, I think a lot of people in this region are waiting and watching to see what President Trump decides, what the U.S. decides to do. I mean, that is the story of this night. We have seen this, back and forth missile barrages, some incoming to Tel Aviv. As we landed here several hours ago, driving in from the airport, you could see Jordanian air defenses. What we were told were Jordanian air defenses activated. Couldn't see interceptions, but we did see the air defenses activated in the skies over us. And then around the same time, we saw in the skies over Tel Aviv interceptors as well. No reports of significant damage there. Some casualties. Jeremy Diamond has just been. I was just talking to him. No reports right now of casualties in Tel Aviv. The question, of course, what is the U.S. going to do? Will there be a direct strike against that Fordo facility? That is of the two facilities, the Natanz and the Fordo, as you know, as you've been reporting. That is the one inside that mountain, which can really only be reached by these bombs, which the United States has, and the delivery mechanisms that the United States has.
Okay, yeah, I found it. I'm like, bro, can you imagine if this happened in America, though? Like, this would just be absolutely insane to see.
Be careful, Seth.
که شنیدید صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استدیو
Like,
it's the hand gestures for me. She's like this, and then like this, and then she's whoom, and then
bro, the whole ceiling falls down with her hands. Like, what?
It would require more than just one. It would be successive waves, from what we understand. But there's a lot of questions tonight about, and no one seems to know the answer for sure about what Donald Trump's going to decide to do.
Yeah, and the Israelis, the officials there seem to be treading very carefully to not seem like they are pushing him into anything, though they very clearly want the United States to get involved here. Anderson, thank you. We'll check in with you as news warrants throughout the hour. And with that as the backdrop, I should note that here in Washington, there is a growing divide among the president's supporters about the question of a possible foreign intervention by the United States. Look at this remarkable exchange. We're going to play for you here. Republican Senator Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson on this very issue.
Oh, this is so spicy.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
I bet you don't.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for
you're ready to reduce their population, so it's best you're taking account now.
the overthrow of the government.
What?
Yeah.
Like if I'm heavily considering going to war with someone, I'm gonna be briefed and know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
and I would want to know their
question.
And I would want to know their population just in case I feel like we're going too far. Like, hey, man, we go to 92 million to 70 million. I'm be like, whoa, what the fuck are we doing there? Hold on. Like, you would want to know.
We need to know like what our numbers is in case we need to give humanitarian efforts and whatnot. And
to not know or not to even know the makeup is crazy.
And he doesn't care either. Like, I like Ted Cruz, but what the hell?
Like, you son of a bitch.
Rising population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
Ooh. Come on.
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay,
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country.
I'm weak.
Bro, he just asked you 3 questions you couldn't answer.
Oh, God, and that's the problem. Like, you don't know anything about the country. Like, I'd damn near be like, bro, here's this globe. Point it out on the map, bro. If you can't point it out on a map, I swear to God, you better never say that name again. Point it out on the goddamn globe, bro, or I better never hear you say the word Iran again.
Oh, you need to go back to history class, my guy.
Oh, God. I'm like, there's no way you don't know. Like, at least some of this. Like, you should know way more about this country than we do.
You know,
yeah.
You know that song, "Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning" by Alan Jackson. Like, he released it right after 9/11. He's like, I don't know the difference in Iraq and Iran. That's what Ted Cruz is sounding like right now.
Nah, for real. It's like, I don't know, bro. You sounded a little like I was kind of a little reckless to say. You kind of painting them with a wide brush, are you not?
Yeah. Those brown people over there.
Yeah, you know those Muslims.
Tim Sheehy of Montana.
He might as well have just said those Arabs. He's like, man, look, they're Arabs. I don't care. He could have just been cut with them.
He should have just said it.
Yeah, he should have been bold and reckless. I'd have respected it. I'd have been like, damn, it's kind of racist, but I respect the boldness.
Deeply revealing. Joining me tonight is Republican Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana, who sits on the Armed Services Committee and served as a Navy SEAL. I'm not going to ask you the population of Iran, since you just saw that, but that does show people the divide that is happening in your world over what the president should do here. What do you think he should do? Do you support strikes on Iran?
Well, it's not my world. It's our world. The truth is there are deep divides across.
Trust me. And I think Tucker Carlson, that video is supposed to come out tomorrow at 1 p.m. So be on the lookout for that video, guys. That whole interview is going to come out. And trust me, best believe I'll be reacting to it.
Oh, you better.
Spectrum on both sides about what we do here. Let's speak very clear. The Democrats have been deeply divided over whether Israel has a right to exist as well. There have been Democrats calling for...
The Republicans are in power. So what are...
No, I'd argue, that they have almost half the Senate and half the House. So the Democrats have a lot of power right now. They have the power to do a lot of things. But back to the point is what do we do right now? And the truth is, Iran has been a pernicious adversary, a brutal, savage adversary of America and Israel, and the Western world for 45 years. I mean, prior to 1980, Iran was a symbol of what the Middle East could be in this new era of oil wealth that was cascading across the region. Freedom, opportunity, innovation.
And shout out to my man Hellbat. He said Arnold Schwarzenegger went on to the interest.
The View.
What? Oh, he went on to the View.
Yeah, he went on to the View, and it was talking about immigration. Actually, I think you should probably play that video. That's actually a really good video. He's winding up, and he just, oh man, it's gold.
Unleash. All right, say less.
When this regime, this brutal, murderous regime took over in 1980, which started, by the way, with taking hundreds of Americans hostage at our embassy, we've seen nothing but murder, attack, terrible, terrible oppression from this regime for 45 years. And nowhere is that more apparent than right now in Israel as they launch their entire fleet of ballistic missiles to wipe a nation off the map.
But why strike now? Well, first, do you support
Well, first of all, I
strikes?
didn't say we should strike.
Do you support strikes?
I support what Israel is doing 100%.
Do you support strikes by the United States? If President Trump
I don't think we need to get directly involved, because I think we've been very directly involved in the region for 25 years. I think what Americans have spoken very clearly about is we don't want more war in the Middle East. Now,
I love it. I love it. We're getting to them in a little bit. We're getting to them. They're like, yeah, we hear the American sentiment from the left and the right. So you guys can't even say, oh, well, the left says or the right says, no. Well, we're in alliance with this.
Like I support Israel's right to do whatever the fuck they're doing. I also support Iran's right to fight back. We don't need to get into the middle of it.
Yep, let them hash it out, guys. And here's the thing. Pretty much Iran said, hey, look, if y'all don't get involved, we won't raise your gas prices. I mean, that's fair.
I drive a Tesla, so I ain't got to worry about that.
I'm telling you, hey, man. At least they ain't talking about electric prices then.
Hey.
I think our ability to help to help Israel be precise and successful in their strikes in Iran is key. And if that means providing them the equipment to do so, intelligence to do so, the specific bombs and platforms to do so, I'm totally supportive. But it's very important that we draw a line in the sand, that the American people have made very clear they don't want us going to war anymore in the Middle East. They don't want boys and girls from their American families on the ground there. They don't want to get drawn into prolonged conflict. But I think it is in our interest, it is in the American people's interest to see Iran put back in the box. They can stop this tomorrow, just like Hamas could have stopped the war in Gaza. They can stop it tomorrow by giving up the nuclear program.
Where is that distinction in supporting Israel as it strikes Iran and the United States striking Israel? You're saying you don't support the president having
a very clear
U.S.
distinction.
bombers
that
go
distinction is not
and
hard
strike
at all.
those facilities.
I mean, how is the distinction hard between having Israeli forces do the job versus U.S. forces? That's a pretty clear distinction.
It wasn't clear.
I mean, I'd explain to her like this, like, sweetheart, for the one time, and like probably ever, we're hearing Maga literally ask the Dems, like, Dems, go ahead and do what you do and try to pump the brakes on this, man, because we're actually for you on this. Like, stop these guys.
Bipartisan support for all the weirdest ways.
Man, and I'm actually happy we can unify on no war. I'm glad we
No
can all
war.
sit
Like,
there and
I'm
be
glad
like,
that's what our,
that one we can all sit there and be like, you know what, MAGA, or know what, libs. I know we don't like each other.
Also,
but
we
don't want to go to
hate
war.
Jews. So the far radical left libs, they don't want war because they want Israel to get crushed by Iran.
Which is
I completely disagree with that. We do not hate Jews. We're a Christian-based country. It'd be stupid to hate Jews. We just do not want to be in a war, and I don't think we deserve to be sent to war again. Like,
man. Bro, what are we losing lives for again? How is this going to benefit us? Trust me, these are all answers these are all questions that's going to need to be answered at the end of that, and I bet you we will. And if it happens, we won't have those answers.
And how you answered it, at least not to me. I just wanted to make clear. You're saying you do support the United States giving Israel support and whatnot, but you don't support the United States actually going over there and striking their nuclear facility.
Well, I mean, that decision can be made by one person and one person alone right now. The president has to decide, am I going to send American bombers and American technology and American servicemen to carry out this strike? If so, that's his decision, and I think if he decided to do so, I'd support him. Ultimately, though, what it has to be is Iran has the opportunity. The power is in Iran's hands right now. If they give up the nuclear program, just like the power is in Hamas's hands to end the war in Gaza, give up the hostages and we'll stop attacking you. Give up the hostages, we'll stop sieging Gaza. Iran can say, you know what, done. We're done with the nuclear program. We will unconditional surrender, as the president said. This can all end tomorrow. So right now, really, the power is in Iran's hands, oddly enough.
But you say the power is in the president's hands as well. But I mean,
Well, the
this has
decisions
reignited a debate on Capitol Hill about Congress's power to declare war. Some of your colleagues, Republicans, are
Now, I hope unconditional surrender doesn't mean that, oh, yeah, we're also taking over the government too, or we're doing a regime change. I hope that's not what they're trying to get off.
circulating a
America
resolution that
first.
they want to say
I'm telling
that if the United States is going to take offensive action
let's
against
stick to
Iran,
that.
that Congress has to approve it first. Would you vote yes on that resolution?
No, I think in this particular case, so first of all, I completely concur that the sole power to declare war in the United States rests with Congress. That's a constitutional responsibility of Congress. I think it's a huge error we've made over the past 80 years since World War II that we have instead authorized the AUMF, authorized use of military force. We've essentially outsourced to the president the power to declare war.
So that sounds like you would support the resolution.
Yep. I would in general, but this isn't declaring a war. This is involving ourselves in a precision strike that, frankly,
going to war. I'm gonna be real with you. I agree. That shouldn't just be a one person like honestly plan. That shouldn't be a one person like a sentence, or I'd say. It's
So-
like, nah, I would like a lot of people to get in on that conversation and be like, all right, yeah, like if you can convince all of Congress and the Senate, sure. But if you can't even convince those guys on both sides, and this is just a small group of radicals in our government, then yeah, you guys are gonna look stupid, and you guys will probably lose your seats.
So that's the thing. The president is 100% allowed to conduct military strikes. He can use the Marine Corps for 90 days. And he just cannot send the army in to occupy after he's done that without Congress's or a declaration of war.
So he can throw signs of aggression, but the final act of war would have to be on Congress.
He can absolutely provoke a war and get us into a conflict. But Congress absolutely has to sustain it, and like the Vietnam War was never actually considered a war. It was considered a policing action. I don't think Congress ever actually declared war, but we went to war.
Tough. And that's how it played out last time. Hopefully it don't play out this time. I think we've learned our lesson. Like I said, it's happened so many times before to the point we're just like, yeah, we're not going for this.
Yeah.
So all right. And shout out to our man Hellbat. We're gonna go ahead and play the video honestly, you and Monty vouched for you on. Controversial moment of this. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I was gonna say this.
I didn't think it was just playing all the way through.
You got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America.
So I guess that was a controversy of what he said, is that these guys are guests. You know what?
You got to go back to the original one and just fast forward into it a little bit, because he gives a whole spiel and he's winding them up and he's basically sounds like he's making all the points, and then he hits them with that.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, hold on then. I do kind of want to lay in on that one though, because it's kind of crazy what I've been hearing lately. Well, let's play this one real quick, and I'll go ahead and I'll move right into that one and get into the right spot.
Talking about the president and how he feels the president is doing. Go for it, Rob.
Handle. Because the other night, he came out and said that when you guys spoke, he warned you that if you didn't get things under control, he was going to bring in troops.
Stone cold liar.
Look at this guy, bro.
Stone cold liar. He made that up. Like he makes up so many other things. He never.
Oh my God. And he also seemed to make up this idea that the National Guard did a great job last night when they weren't here.
They weren't even deployed, and he claimed victory. He's lost it. He hasn't lost a step. And I saw him trip on the steps today. I mean, this is serious. He is not the same person that I dealt with just 4 years ago. And he's incapable now of even a train of thought. He's making things up, and he's putting people's lives at risk. And he's got a band of people that are complicit in this. And that's what's so damn alarming.
Why is it every time there's a credible narrative against a Democrat, like Joe Biden can't walk upstairs, there's always a Democrat somewhere along the lines to just copy it. Like, no, I'm not. You are. Like, you
Yep.
sound like a 5-year-old, Gavin. Come on.
Oh no. Do you remember the most dishonesty what they did with Biden? Like as soon as Biden left, bro, when we was calling Biden's age out, we was called ageist. Pretty much. You said, oh, old people could do it too. You guys are effed up. And then as soon as Biden goes out, they look at us like Trump looking a little old guys. I was like, are you freaking serious?
What?
You guys are for the 82-year-old. What are you serious?
The man, all he cared about was ice cream and sniffing little girls, and we can't point that out without being some sort of age, like an ist. Like, I mean, they love playing those cards. Like once they overplayed the race card, it was on to the
trust me,
homophobia. It was on to everything. They're just playing Uno with
bro.
all
It was like with the whole due process thing. It's like when it came with due process and immigration, all right, so shout out to Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton's the one who started the whole expedited removal. So it was a Democrat who started expedited removal, and it's been Democrats who've been enforcing it heavily ever since then.
Might I add, the Fifth Amendment says life, liberty, and property. They're not being deprived of their life. They're not being deprived of their liberty other than to be in the United States, and they're not being deprived of their property. They're just being kicked out of our property.
And that is the facts. Wasn't this man a Republican?
So he was a Republican. He bashed Trump when the January 6th stuff happened. He's a pretty he sits right in the middle, it seems like.
Okay, center right, pretty much. All right.
He's definitely more left than right, but he sits pretty far, pretty centered.
Okay.
I'm watching the comments come in. Red Hat Boy is MAGA. That is what the hat said. I'm glad you guys learned how to read. Just saying.
Yes, my man has the red hat on, man.
Wow.
Shout out to the red hat.
Do you want hold on. Wait, ready?
Not the dark MAGA. The dark MAGA. Oh wow. And now we went dark MAGA, Chad. The first, pretty much.
Yeah, he got red pilled.
Yep, he said America first, pretty much, and they was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm like, yeah, I know, because you basically be agreeing with Trump if you guys flat out agreed with Arnold.
If you look at their they're like trying to touch his hand to get him to stop and everything. It was wild.
Wow.
They were trying to say, hey, shut up.
But as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country.
They're trying to bait him so hard, and he's just like, "What are you talking about?"
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what they try to do with me and all that good stuff. Like, well, said, aren't your parents immigrants? Yeah, but here's the thing, though: it's disrespectful to they're legal immigrants, and naturalized, and they're naturalized now, but they came over here legally. Like they followed the law because they had to. Well, of course they'd have. Well, of course they got to follow the law, but they made sure they followed the law because if not, they lose the opportunity to be in America. So it's disrespectful for you guys to compare us to illegal immigrants. It's almost disrespectful. It's like comparing a law-abiding citizen to a downright convict, to a downright felon. It's like, yo, what's wrong with you guys? Conversations like this every night.
Yeah,
like, let's be real. Like America. Shout out. I would celebrate that. I mean, like, bro, you telling me you came over here legally? You pretty much obeyed our laws. You kept the job the entire time. Oh, bro, shout out to you, bro. Welcome to America. Shout out. Welcome, my fellow American. But you came over here illegally and you disrespected our laws. Oh, no, you got to go. I have no care for you. You have to leave. All right, now, bro, you was just having this criticism of Obama's, deal with Iran, their nuclear deal with Iran. You just had the same criticism.
The dominant news around the world right now is that we do not know what is just now. Let's turn our attention to the dominant news around the world right now is that we do not know what is just around the corner when it comes to will the United States give.
And shout out to not a bot. When my Gramps immigrated to the U.S., he told my dad couldn't speak Spanish to him anymore because he was an American now. He was so proud. See, shout out. He said, don't even speak Spanish to me anymore. We American. We speak English. We speak English. And shout out to Trump for making English the national language. No, now the Dems actually got to accept it.
Give the technology that means we can go to the whole next level here when it comes to trying to make sure that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon. We know that this has been something discussed, feared. What are the consequences? How hard, metaphorically, can Iran be punched before there is this sort of point of no return? Personally, I think that it's been proven a few times here that maybe there was greater fear about Iran rather than the reality of their ability to respond. But there is a bunker that needs to be busted, and the only people who can do it, it's going to be the Americans. What do you think?
Wait, why we got to do it?
Well, look, I mean, one of the things that Donald Trump and I first bonded over was Iran policy, the idiocy of Obama, the European Union, the British Foreign Office and government, all doing this deal, this JCPOA deal with Iran just over a decade ago. And what it did, it freed up tens of billions of dollars, much of which they used to fund Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, and every terrorist group in the region. So I think what Israel are doing, I'm generally anti-war, Paul. I think going to war really is a last resort. But I don't think Israel, frankly, had much choice. We do not know exactly the level to which at the Natanz facility they've managed to enrich uranium, but it's a pretty long way. But what you say is right. Whilst the above-the-ground facilities have been damaged, the real work that goes on below ground has not been touched over the last couple of days. Yeah, you can take out the TV station, all the rest of it. My sense of this is that Trump has always thought that Iran were potentially the really bad guys. And I personally believe, no inside info, but I personally believe he will give Israel the ability to finish this job.
Yeah, I get that sense, especially obviously stepping out of the G7, basically as soon as he hopped off Air Force One into the Situation Room, and we know that it's daylight right now in not just America, but the Middle East as well.
And they're warmongering overseas now, bro. This is what they're doing. And all right, now let's get over to I'll say let's shift it back over to the right with Candace Owens and her criticism of Trump. I know, right? You already know Candace already about to pop off.
Guys, happy Tuesday, or is it a happy Tuesday? Do you guys remember Miss Cleo from the 90s? Remember this?
You have questions. I have the answers.
Call me now for your free tarot reading.
Call 1-800-980-8637.
That's how I'm feeling lately with all of this stuff, which was so obvious. And I said a year ago, that's now happening. I'm like, call me now, because I just seem to keep accurately predicting these political events. But I have a confession, you guys. I'm not a fortune teller. And by the way, neither was Miss Cleo. She was actually a fraud. And me, I've just been paying attention to all of the obvious signs and the words that are coming out of Bibi Netanyahu's mouth. And now we're going to war. American planes are in the skies in Iran. So buckle up, guys. Get ready to send your sons and daughters to the Middle East. And everyone who disagrees with that is apparently a jihadist, or as Trump is saying, a kook. That's what he's called, Tucker Carlson. Whose side are you on? Welcome back to Candace.
So apparently Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard are the kooks, apparently to Trump. And I can only imagine who's in his ear telling them this stuff.
Here's the thing. I try to be optimistic about everything, even obviously the state of play today, which it's hard to find the silver lining, but there is one. There is a silver lining. And I think it's that left and right, we can finally stop warring with one another, because it all just seems to be the same. Both sides are serving the same master, and that's apparently money and war, the nonstop war machine. Tim Dillon actually recently, I think it was yesterday, nailed it on the head, speaking about how the left falls for war and how the right falls for war and how you can manipulate both sides. Take a listen.
The American conservative movement, and they can be emotionally manipulated. The base of the American liberal movement can be manipulated in that way as well. All you have to do with that side is tell them that RuPaul's Drag Race can't do a show in Russia. And then they're in. So all you have to do is for the left make war.
I mean, I'm weak. Damn, that's what they do with the left Hey, the left, they throw gays off the buildings. They don't treat the LGBTQ community right. Women don't got rights there. And then they're all aboard for taking out Iran. And guys, hey, conservatives, they got a bomb. And you're just like, wait, what? Really?
Don't be sheeple. Do your research. Form an opinion before you listen to people talk.
Man.
Or about domestic politics. They throw gay people off the roof or whatever, even though, do we have photos? I'm sure it's happened. How is it happening every day? And are we going to help that somehow by bombing?
No, the left does not support Gaza. For the people in the chat that's saying the left supports Gaza, the left supports abolishing Israel. From the river to the sea. Sorry,
everybody.
No, that's good.
Now,
right.
Yeah, try to throw them off the roof now. We bombed the building. Like, it's not rational, but that's how you get the left involved. You just use domestic wedge political issues to get them going. The left is crazy. The right is stupid. So the way you get the right involved is to just tell them they're going to be killed soon, that they're on their way to kill you. They're coming to kill you, and we got to kill them first. We got to kill them before they kill you. Everything's preemptive. Everything's...
They got a bomb, bro. If they get this bomb, who you think they're going to come for, guys? They're going to come for Israel. They're going to come from America. Man, guys, we got to take them out now, man. We got to bomb them right now. If you don't do it, guys, you don't love America. I mean, you see how they sell it so smooth?
The strike, it's there, and you're in your cul-de-sac. You're like, Iran's going to get it.
I have to say, kind of got to agree with that. And we have to laugh at it because if we weren't laughing, we would probably be crying. It's just terrible. It's so cyclical. And I'll ask the question, show of hands, who 1 week ago can honestly say that they woke up terrified that Iran was going to nuke the United States of America? Absolutely nobody did. But that's where we are at.
Well, because if you pay attention to the news, or if you really pay attention to, media at all, Iran already stated what their beef was. They said, look, like you guys say, if you stay out, we'll leave your military bases alone. We'll leave your people alone. We'll leave the USA. We'll leave the U.S. land alone. Just stay out of this fight. And if that's their stance, then we should go ahead and stay out of it.
Right now. Now, some are calling this a MAGA civil war, but it's not that. Okay, let's be frank. Let's be honest. This is not MAGA at all. Some people are calling it MEGA, Make Israel Great Again. I would actually argue that it's Make Israel Greater, and that Trump just fractured his base. I believe he just fractured his base. Now, the Make America Great Again movement, as I understood it, it took very many bullets defending Trump and the Make America Great Again movement early on, back in 2017, 18, 19, because as I understood it, it was about the realization that Americans were last, frankly, that the elites had sold us out for never-ending wars. Effectively, MAGA was a declaration of war on neocons, right? On the people who always come up with a reason for us to send our sons and daughters overseas, sending unaccountable dollars. We don't know where all the money went. While American jobs, American cities, even the American education system was in steep decline. A lot of the rhetoric at that time was aimed at our veterans, right? Remember the fallen soldiers, how we had forgotten these brave men and these brave women, the veterans who came back and weren't treated with any respect, the people who went and never came back because they died in foreign lands. Yeah, that was what the MAGA movement was supposed to be about. America being pulled out of decline. Rhetoric also aimed at farmers and ranchers. Now, what was the mandate? Like I said,
I said it's like a founding father idea. Like George Washington pretty much said himself. He's like, yeah, it's okay to be cool with these countries, but let's not be too aligned with them to where we're willing to go to war behind them. Yeah, we should never be that involved with a country.
Israel needs
Americans
to do their own thing.
Exactly.
Out of foreign affairs. No war. We were actually so obsessed with not getting involved in war that this time the left and the right actually locked arms. It was the literal appeal of Tulsi Gabbard. She was hated by Hillary Clinton types, the Barry Weiss types, calling her a toady, because after having served in the military, she was extremely adverse to war. And we were like, yes, that's great. That works for us. And Trump, by the way, if we're taking a look at him, he had been extremely vocal in the past for years, by the way, before he even ran for president, about the disaster of our foreign policy in the Middle East. He specifically called out Barack Obama back in 2011 for what he deemed to be an unnecessarily looming conflict with, well, you guessed it, Iran. Take a listen.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran.
Okay, and he kept up that 4 years later, that same...
I mean, it is one of those, like... No, we're not actually at war with Iran. We're not involved. But the fact that we're at this point is concerning.
Rhetoric during the 2015 Republican presidential election debates, Trump came across as strong. He came across as truthful because he took a bold stance against the disaster of the Iraq War and all the lies that were told leading up to it. Take a listen to Trump.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. But I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
Yep, that is the Trump that I voted for twice, okay? So we elected him in 2016. We elected him again in 2024, more or less the exact same mandate. And like I said, we were excited, especially when Tulsi Gabbard became the director of national intelligence, right? And I'm not kidding when I say that 8 weeks ago in March, she testified before Congress that Iran did not appear to be building a nuclear bomb. This was 8 weeks ago, you guys. Take a listen.
All right, bet 8 weeks.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely.
What was that? IC, isn't that what? Israeli Central? I don't know.
That he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program.
So what changed, you guys? What happened? Because now we're in this phase of gaslighting. We got all these IDF bots pretending that we're not America First for noticing that the messaging has completely changed over a couple of weeks. What actually changed overnight? And why did it change overnight? And the answer is Bibi Netanyahu. What Bibi Netanyahu wants is what he gets. He is the effective president of the United States and has been for a very long time, okay? After 2 years of the media persistent in their messaging surrounding the horrors of October 7th, which, by the way, the IDF mysteriously elected to pull their troops away from the border on that day, October 7th, when mysteriously also the IDF chose mysteriously to ignore 2 warnings which came from Egypt that Hamas was planning an attack. They just said, you know what, we're going to ignore that. This is all facts, by the way. The also mysterious decision by the government to ignore a plan, which they had intercepted, a plan from Hamas to take 200 hostages. They had nothing about that. All of this leading up to that moment in October 7th, when for some inexplicable reason, the IDF was just not able to get any one of their very many soldiers to intervene on that attack for 2 entire hours. Utterly implausible. Don't believe me? Just ask Charlie Kirk.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that's an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order?
I mean,
6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Questions that Bibi Netanyahu doesn't want to answer.
I mean, we're talking about the Mossad. We're talking about the same Mossad that pulled off the beeper thing. The pager thing with the Hezbollah.
Yeah,
Like
the pager thing. The like I feel like the argument we're getting into is like whether the Crips and the Bloods should be allowed to fight, and the U.S. is the cops. Like,
I'm weak.
They're like, just because one person is bad doesn't mean that Iran is suddenly without fault and not threatening to wipe Israel off the map and not threatening to wipe us off the map. Like, let them fight each other. Let them take each other out. If that's what everybody wants to.
Well, everybody wants to say that's what everybody want to stand on.
Yeah.
By the way, I should add here that in addition, when the IDF finally did arrive after 2 hours, they were instructed via the Hannibal Directive, which is a military directive that they have, to shoot anything that moved.
And that was, that was actually verified by Israeli media that they do have a Hannibal Directive and that it was enacted on October 7th. So some of that 1,500 or so, yeah, that was committed by the IDF as well. That's the scary part. I think it was about, people says about 100 to 200 deaths that might have been by the IDF strike on the Nova Music Festival.
Hannibal Directive, which is a military directive that they have to shoot anything that moved, including Jewish people. So the Israeli government was instructed to not let anybody survive, to kill everybody because they didn't want anybody to be taken as hostages. So yeah, a lot of
because for every Jew they'd have to give up hella Palestinians. For every Israeli,
let the seven sacraments of health on, because they're going in the chat just making outlandish claims. I think we agree on most of the thing, but I wish they'd I wish they'd invite a guest on who is more informed on the Middle East. So,
I mean, all right, go ahead and go to the post tab, my man. Come on up, shoot. He says he's informed on the Middle East. I need to hear it then, man. I
want to hear what you have to say.
Me too, honestly. We'll go ahead and let you go ahead and cook.
Of questions to be asked. How many of their own people did they kill?
Just go to my main page, go to the post tab, and go ahead and hit that link.
And why did it take so long for them to get to that border, which they mysteriously decided to leave vacant on that day? Now, Bibi, you would never know this because the Western media doesn't cover it, has been facing a slew of corruption charges, trials for what he did or did not do on that day. He also mysteriously instructed his administration not to record the discussions that they were having, as is required by law. He wanted the transcripts from that day to be edited. Among very many other of the accusations of corruption, Bibi's cabinet coordinated verified lies and propaganda to be shared with the Western media. Okay, you can read all of this, by the way, in Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper, because you certainly can't read in any of the Western ones.
Nope.
And why is that? Well, because they have their marching orders. Because virtually everything that we have watched and listened to over the last 3 years has been one long, unhinged propagandist effort in preparation for this war. AIPAC dollars spent, journalists funded to overreact to any and everything. I'm not kidding, right? So sensitive. Everything is now anti-Semitism. Everything is the Holocaust. Everything is Adolf Hitler. Every person that you knew that was in public magically over the last 2 years got possessed by the spirit of Adolf Hitler. At least that's the version, according to Zionists. They became radical and they became obsessed and they became obvious.
No, the long they don't try to spin if you're not trying to go to war with Iran, you're anti-Semitic. As long as they don't try that, then cool, whatever, guys.
I don't want my opinions on whether we send thousands of American troops to die and spend trillions of dollars on war to be a gut punch gotcha moment. Like,
but here's the thing, though. This is what we got to understand about anti-Semitism. It has an ever evolving definition. Remember that. That's what the rabbi says.
Yeah.
Has an ever evolving
It means
definition.
whatever's convenient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever the guy with the small hat says it means at that moment.
Whatever Lockheed Martin can get it to mean
at that moment.
Quote unquote conspiracy theorists like me who told you the reason why they were acting this way. It was to prepare for war with Iran. I've been saying this, I'm not kidding, for over 2 years. Here's a clip of me saying it again just last year. Take a listen. Iraq, Libya, Syria. He says it, we do it. And now he's saying that Iran might kill President Trump. And if he does, then we just better all say we're going to war right now and not ask any further questions. Let me tell you something right now. Something happens to President Trump, I'm going to have a lot of further questions. And I'm going to make this statement to the American people. Please listen to me. Do not send your sons and daughters to fight in this planned war. They have been planning this war for years, okay? Do not believe them when they say they have weapons of mass destruction. They have been trying this strategy for years in various countries that they want war with, okay? Stop letting these elite oligarchs, very small group of them that benefit from these never-ending wars, allow you to be deluded into emotionality and irrationality and to allow your children to die on foreign soil. Not a single American daughter or son is going to die overseas for this planned war. Call me now. Call me now, Miss Cleo.
And you know what's so crazy, though? Because my man Castro was talking about this. Because what was it? It was AF Post states that Iranian state television has promised a great surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries. Yeah, what y'all mean by that? Like, man, that's a very ominous feeling. And what was it supposed to be tonight? I mean, God, bro, somebody check on Israel.
I said it was just way too obvious, but I did get something wrong there. The assassination attempt of Donald Trump, or maybe he did experience some sort of an assassination of his opinion, his soul, because I'm not sure what exactly happened to the Trump that I just showed you, the Trump that I voted for, because today he is singing a very different tune. If you've been paying attention to the last 24 hours, he's now attacking people that have remained consistent, that are standing against our involvement in the Middle East on the basis of the fact that regime changes have never worked there. He's attacking, of all people, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, who we showed you on the show yesterday, was very gracious in his assessment of Trump, and he has a good heart, he's a good man. And here's why I don't agree with the Iran regime change efforts. He spoke about this very above board with Steve Bannon. Okay, a reporter caught Trump off guard at the G7 meeting. He's standing next to Keir Starmer, and they ask him to respond to something that Tucker never said. And here is what Trump says about Tucker Carlson. Take a listen.
The other day, response to Tucker Carlson criticizing you, saying that you were complicit in the war.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen.
And quickly, have you spoken to the...
God damn. So that's so off the cuff, man. That man's so off the cuff with
Let him go get a television. He does have a television network, but
I mean, he kind of does. And I'm be real with you, man.
But he got kicked out of Fox.
On God, it's like, all right, Trump, all right, chill out, man. My man Tucker does just fine. All him and all 400 million, oh, well, not 400 million, but 4 million of his subscribers. He's doing just fine.
In case you didn't hear him, he said, let Tucker Carlson go get a television network and say it there, and maybe people will listen. So I guess he's kind of trying to.
I mean, trust me, when Tucker released that, when Tucker go ahead and release that interview tomorrow with Ted Cruz, Trump gonna realize that, yeah, bro, we listen. Spicy. Oh yeah, we listen for sure. Actually, Trump should already know just off those 2 clips that are circling all over that. Oh no, we're listening for sure.
Take a dig at Tucker Carlson, even though Tucker never took a dig at him, and implying that Tucker Carlson is no longer relevant because he's not on TV. And what does he do there? He just exposes himself for being.
And I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit mad at Trump for that because I'm like, bro, Tucker too nice for you to be doing that to my man Tucker. Dude's low-key a nice guy. Like,
I mean,
okay, he can.
The thing though is like Democrats have said it best. We didn't elect Tucker Carlson. We didn't elect Elon Musk. We didn't elect any of these fucking people that the media seems to cling on to and say, well, this person over here
says.
like said, "Who fucking cares? Are they the president? Did they get 77 million votes? No.
Exactly. Just
So
because we
maybe
agree
let
with the
fucking
man.
president decide it."
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, and people say that they trust Trump to make the right decision, and so do I. I just don't like where things are heading. I'm just hoping there's the biggest pump fake, like, oh nope, we're not doing anything at all. We just hope they make it.
Being out of touch, really? You have to have a television network to be heard in America today. What next? Tucker Carlson, go get a fax machine. Go get a fax machine, Tucker Carlson. If you want people to read your messages. That's how I read that. Completely ridiculous. But he doubled down on this. He went on to Truth Social and he said, Tucker Carlson, who has maintained that we should not send our sons and daughters to die in another regime change war, since all of them have been a remarkable failure, at least for America, not for Israel. Trump tweets this: somebody please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Now, if you're wondering, wait.
That's the argument, though. Do we have to go to war with Iran for them not to have a nuclear weapon? Like, we could have worked something out to where they could have had nuclear energy and we just had heavy inspection on it. But to stand on this, oh, Iran's not having a nuclear weapon, that's cool. Yeah, we agree, but we don't got to go to war over that.
Yeah. They're not at the point where they're going to get a nuclear weapon. And if there's someone else that wants to put their sons and daughters on the line to make sure Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon, who are we? Like, don't fucking let them go.
No, man, shoot, man, bro. I don't know, man, like Europe, bro. Why don't y'all go start it off or something? Like, because we don't want to do nothing about it.
We're not the fucking world's police force anymore. Like, we need to worry about ourselves.
I'm telling you, man, we're like, we're trying to keep to ourselves for a little bit. Y'all can go ahead and have this one because we don't want to back Israel. But there are some countries that do, but let's not let it be us.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though. I mean, even the pro-Israel guys, even the pro-Israel guys, they kind of have a stance of us not even going into it either. Like, because I was even hearing them talking, they're like, yeah, I don't even think we should get involved, but Israel got it, though. Israel's going to win. And that's what the pro-Israelis guys was saying.
I am pro-Israel. I've said it 1,000 times. I am not so pro-Israel that I'm going to pull us into World War III, though.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and come on up, Luke. Go ahead. Because Luke said, "Hey, said, can I join you guys? I just got here though." Oh yeah, it's all good.
Wait a minute. Didn't Tulsi Gabbard literally just testify in March that Iran did not appear to be building a nuclear weapon? Yeah, she did. And Trump has this to say about Tulsi Gabbard, who is his director of national intelligence. You can just dismiss what she says, according to Trump. Take a listen.
Mr. President, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
Fuck.
And that's the problem. It's like, bro, what the hell you even put her there for? And
Listen to the people that you fucking fought for them to be there. Oh my goodness.
Bro, here's a problem. I actually truly believe that somebody's turning Trump against his cabinet, or at least the intelligent members in his cabinet. They don't know what they're talking about. Remember that thing they were trying to say that Tulsi Gabbard secretly works for Qatar or Libya or something like that. Like, they were saying all types of wild stuff about Tulsi Gabbard already. Who said that Donald Trump is not feeding into that? And now he believes nothing she says because the neocons turned him against her. I know, wild speculation, but it's kind of looking like, why else would he say, I don't care? It's like, bro, like, well, why you even put her there? If you did, or if you just gonna disregard what she says, why not put somebody there that you're always gonna regard what they say? I mean, it's not even real with you. It don't make sense.
What is that, guys?
The mental whisperer just put it perfect. This is a 50-year-old psyop. I can't believe Trump would buy into the bull. This is not the real Trump. Israel, install a new one. Yeah, like, this is. I think I've made that point pretty clear. Is 100%. A war of emotions, and it's being waged on us by Israel, and just don't fall into it. Like, the way you win this is you just don't fall into it.
And then hopefully we can just cook these guys to death on the point.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what a lot of people are pretty much asking content creators to do, is just hop out and be like, yo, guys, let's just kind of protest this. And like I said, I don't care if you're left or right, bro. We all agree that we should not get into this war, and we should just stand on that.
I think whatever our reasons are for agreeing, if we agree that we don't want to send people to war and spend a shit ton of money, that's all. That's good enough for me.
I'm like, yeah, let it be that. And if Trump can kick and scream while he's over here fixing our economy, but hey, they'll be they'll be all right. And let's be real, if we stop them, then they release the Epstein files. I mean, hey, at least you libs might get what y'all want, right? Right.
You don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say most Americans want the same thing. They just want to be happy and they want to fucking feel secure
and transparency.
Yeah, and transparency in the government. So,
boy,
Director of National Intelligence is telling you don't care because Bibi Netanyahu called you up and said, yeah, we need a pretext for war. Like we always need a pretext for. We're constantly bombing and killing people all the time. We're committing a Holocaust in Gaza. Could you just go out there and tell them they were building a nuclear bomb? They weren't. And there's been no evidence of that outside of Bibi Netanyahu's "Trust me, bro," because I guess you have to come up with something to make people hysterical to believe that we have
the biggest "trust me, bro."
There's nukes over there.
Like, trust me, bro. Look, man, boots on the ground, risk American life. But I promise, they're over there, bro. They're over there. It's just so crazy. Like, what do we need to honestly go through for us? Like, what else? What else do we need to find out or go through for us to understand that, yo, we're kind of being led into this, and they're trying to kind of like, I don't know, if they're not gonna pity us into it with Israel, if they can't just force us into it with a false flag, then I mean, I don't know what else they could possibly do, but just say F it and just bomb them.
Let them go. Let them fight it out. Like,
yeah, here's the thing though. It's like, how long are we just gonna go for they got bombs? I'm telling you guys, they got bombs. And it's like, all right, well, can you show us
why
proof?
haven't they used them on you yet?
Yeah, low key. It's like, they have a bomb. I'm like, then why didn't they blow Israel up already? If it's been death to Israel already, why haven't we been struck already? Like, how close have they been for 15 years, guys? So why are we just so gun-ho and believing it now? It's just strange.
Been 20 minutes away for the last fucking 30 years.
Jesus. This never-ending right to murder human beings. That's what it is. It's a carte blanche that has been handed to Israel to continually murder human beings in the Middle East, to use American soldiers to effect regime changes in the Middle East at the benefit of no one but Israel, okay? While they go, oh, well, we kept our hands, we didn't get involved in that one. Yeah, if you think we're stupid and we're not paying attention to what the results of all of these wars have been, Bibi Netanyahu standing before Congress and demanding that we go to war with all these countries, and then we do it. And then they go, oh, we had nothing to do with that. We benefited, but that's just lucky. We benefited Syria. Yeah, we benefited Libya. Yeah, we benefited. That's just Iraq. Yeah, 9/11, but I don't know. We're just lucky that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just weird. Like, isn't it weird how Israel just benefits off us just, losing American lives and wasting American dollars and sending ourselves into debt over these wars? Like, isn't that just funny? So it's like, what? Hey, guys, they got bombs. And I mean, bro, Iran has nukes. Like, bro, what? $1 trillion and 1 million American lives later? Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. That was actually a misinformation. Our bad, guys. But, hey, we won the war, right? Like, is that what we need to go through, guys?
Every 22 minutes, there's a fucking service member blowing their fucking brains out because of it. But yeah, we won.
And hey, what's up, Luke? So what you think so far? Yo, Luke.
You're very quiet, sir.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
hey, I had the mic off. So yeah, about this whole situation. I always thought that Israel was our only ally in the Middle East. Is that true or?
Well, not anymore. We got Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
I mean, we had Saudi Arabia, United Emirates.
That's part of Qatar?
Qatar, yeah, Qatar. We are cool with Qatar.
Okay.
So we do have allies in the Middle East.
And Wasn't that Prince guy? Was he taken out of power? Was he overthrown by another guy in Iran?
He was exiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was overthrown.
So the crown prince was he was friendly to us also, right?
Mm-hmm.
The crown prince that's been exiled is friendly to the U.S. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, that makes it difficult.
It makes it real fucking
Dang.
tricky, right?
I know, because
Yeah.
you want to. It's like you almost
Dang.
want to say, "I want a
You can't
regime
pick
change,"
Yeah,
but it's
sides.
like,
so who's the bad guy? Is it
There is no bad guy. It is
well, she's saying Netanyahu's
Netanyahu, yes. So Netanyahu is corrupt, and Netanyahu has perpetrated a lot of bad things across the world. But the Jewish people, just like the Iranian people, do not deserve to get wiped off the face of the earth.
exactly. Yeah,
you know,
and there's two political groups over in Israel too.
Mhm.
It's like over here in the U.S. They have their conservative Orthodox Jews, right?
Yeah.
And then they have like the more modern liberal ones.
Hmm.
So I'm curious.
So the Zionist terrorists are the bad guys. So the Zionist terrorists have been kind of sitting behind the idea that Israel is just this poor, defenseless country, and the Jewish people are poor and defenseless because of the Holocaust.
So are
And
they
perpetrating terror?
Are they the bankers and the porn owners?
yeah. Well,
yeah.
actually, in Germany they were too, and in modern day today, and in Germany they were both. And actually, that's kind of why they got kicked out of a lot of countries, because they were having corrupt banking practices and degenerate media, or
subverting the morals
because
of the country.
there was the one bringing drag shows into your favorite country.
Yeah, the Catholic Church did business with people that became Jewish just so that they could use usury, the practice of lending for interest.
Yeah.
And it was technically unbiblical. The Pope didn't have the right to charge its Christian population interest. So the whole banking thing, which got our country in a lot of debt, is partly because of the people that either they were Jewish or they became Jewish in name only or something like that. And I wonder how many of these kind of problematic figures, how many of them are actually descendants of Abraham.
You know what pisses me off about this whole argument? Because since when does a country also get to have a religion behind it? You can't say, imagine if America had a religion behind it, and if you disagreed with America in any way, somehow you were
anti that religion.
Like you're an anti-Semitist.
And anti that religion and anti that people at the same time.
Anti that people. It's ridiculous. I trust me, I do not hate Israel. I do not hate the Jewish people. But you only get so many passes, and you only get to start so much shit before you have to get you have to get called out on it. And if you can't sustain yourself, you should not just assume that everybody is going to help you.
So let me interject a sec. So the racism over in Israel is stronger than here, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Right. Because if you're not Jewish descent, then you're, kind of like how the Muslims see it. You're an infidel or
you're an infidel,
unclean. You're
almost
a Gentile.
Like the exact same thing that the Jews dealt with.
Yeah. And then over in China, same thing. If you're not a Chinese citizen, same thing. You're looked down upon, right?
Yep, same thing in Japan as well.
They're very nationalist in all the countries, and the left likes to forget that like every country and every continent is very nationalist.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, and then wasn't there some like Nordic country or Dutch country or something like that that put up borders and they shoot people that try to cross illegally? The Polish.
Not Polish, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's man, I think that's what has this all complicated. It's not a simple. It's not so black and white as each side is saying it is. What do you guys think?
It's been a problem for, a modern problem for 100 and some years, some of which like the last 80 years. But I mean, it's been a problem for 3,000 years if you go back to as long as the Jews have been occupying that area.
Right.
So,
now, here's the thing, though. I just don't like the interference. It's just like this. Look, I'm okay with Israel being Israel. You guys can leave it there, but just cut the BS, cut the blackmail, cut the whole Mossad thing off. You guys low-key got to answer for JFK, and you guys low-key should be answering for Epstein. But we don't really hold them accountable. We don't hold them accountable for the U.S.'s liberty. So, like, at some point, like just like you said, Monty, like we do have to hold y'all accountable. We do got to call, or at least call you guys out and be like, look, you guys let us into this before, so I'm sorry, but we got to put our hands up on you guys and say good luck.
And to be honest,
be upset.
To be honest, America's also got their hands dirty with doing stuff for bankers and senators that are trying to get money, through proxy wars. I think that's what it's called. Where
can I interject right here, because the chat is just going crazy right now.
We're popular.
Israel can't defend itself. Israel attacked Iran. Israel did a covert operation with people on the ground and implanted in the government and attacked Iran.
I know, and they were direct about it, where Hamas was kind of being used as a Blackwater or something like that, right? Where they
to be honest, it seemed like the whole Hamas thing was dying down, and then Bibi just had to jump to something hot, like.
Yeah,
because think about it, just started letting humanitarian aid in. Hamas is like, look, guys, we give up. We're willing to give up hostages and all that good stuff. So things were kind of dying down, but at the same time as things die down, what does that mean for Bibi? Or guess what? These charges are coming up. So now let's go ahead and start off a whole nother conflict. And let's go ahead and poke at these guys over here at Iran, even though the U.S. is trying to get peace with them. I don't know. Let's try to set off some of our paid for shills in Congress and let them go ahead and talk in the media about how we need to go to war with Iran.
So is he as corrupt as, let's say like a Joe Biden, or
he hasn't been convicted of anything. So in America, we presume people innocent until they're convicted, but he hasn't been convicted of anything, but he's got a lot of people.
He got a lot to answer for, and here's the thing: like
he has a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, because and let's just wait until we get like the international reporters in, and we can see what they say. Because, like I said, I want to see an interview with the Palestinian citizens. I want to see an interview with somebody from Hamas. I want to hear what they got to say. Because
and how long has he been in power?
Like 30 or not 30? Like 20 years.
Wow,
like early 2000s, right?
Okay.
So wait, I think it was in the 90s. I thought it was in the 90s that guy took over.
So it might have been even, because he was talking to 92. So yeah, it's been damn near almost 40 years.
Do you think he became corrupt because there was just so much?
He's been in power too long, is my opinion.
Yeah. Wasn't he the brother of some like war hero or something?
I don't know the history that well.
But all right, guys. But let's get back on to the show. We're kind of getting off.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
So right now, the lack of consistency, it is stunning to watch Trump do this. He's all over the place right now on social media. I mean, he initially signaled right away that America had nothing to do with what happened in Iran, that America was not going to get involved, that he was negotiating peace. Then he signaled that he didn't have any idea that the attack was coming, but also that he did know that the attack was coming. And now he's tweeting we. He's literally using we to describe what is happening in Iran right now. Let's just take a look at some of these tweets. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Oh, well, hey, yeah, we've got our planes in the skies. Okay, American troops might die, but USA, 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 because our stuff is so good and good looking in the sky. The big bad American planes are in the sky. What does he think? We're stupid? And the people online that are trying to pretend that we are the ones betraying Trump for holding him accountable to his promises that he made to us when we voted for him, when we encouraged other people to vote for him. You're pretending that we're the ones that are problematic? This level of gaslighting that's taking place. You got Laura Loomer out there saying, screenshot every tweet that's against Donald Trump. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You better start capturing Donald Trump's tweets that are going out right now because they seem pretty against Donald Trump's ideas of yesteryear. That's all I'm saying. Everything that he said, every bit of BS that he called out, calling out the neocons, the people that were on the face of the Never Trump movement, he's now aligned with all of them. Everyone who hated him and called him Adolf Hitler, he's now locked arm in arm with them. Yeah, he agrees with Nikki Haley, the Lindsey Grahams. He agrees with every single person that we had to fight on his.
At that point, I'm saying, like, what got to him?
And can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Trump's in a tough spot because he believes it's negotiate through strength, right?
Yeah, peace through
strength.
Peace through strength, and
like, I know where you live, I will take you out. So come to the negotiation table.
Right.
Yeah.
And to take out some of the people starting it and perpetuating it, as opposed to letting the whole military get involved and it be a long drawn out war. That's what we're trying to avoid, right? And we're also trying to avoid.
We don't want to go to war with them. Yeah.
We're also trying to avoid them getting potentially the ability to send nuclear weapons to their other proxy groups that then
that's the overwhelming argument of why if you don't support Israel and if you don't jump right on board, you're a horrible American and you're not a patriot, because
Iran's just going to keep funding terrorists that want to
Iran
destroy
has
Israel.
Iran has been 2 weeks away from getting a nuke for 15 years.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Bush did say that there were weapons of mass destruction to get us in, and there weren't.
And guess where that came from? That came from Israel.
Really?
Yes.
And it's going to keep coming from him every time.
Wow.
So over the past, there was a article. Dave Smith talked about this on the Rogan show. A plan called the Clean Break, basically a break from peace and a break from like negotiating with people, and like all of the Middle Eastern countries were on the list that Israel wanted to go destabilize, and the last one on that list right now is Iran.
Oh shit! Okay. And then the Muslim countries, they have their each other's back, right? So
I hope so.
So
they
if
absolutely
we
do. Yeah.
So it was the Saudi Arabian prince that was pretty much pleading to Trump about the Gazans starving, and since the Iranian prince made that plea to Trump, what they started doing is start letting those trucks in.
Okay, and then so if we're not just going to war with Iran, if that's what we do, we will end up in conflict with many other Muslim
that's part
countries.
Of the reason because we're so hand in hand with Israel is part of the reason Iran screams death to America, is because Iran or the Muslim people have suffered under Zionist terrorism, not Jewish people, Zionist terrorism.
Okay.
His behalf to allow him to hold the office that he is holding. Yeah, he now agrees with all of them. And we're problematic. Now we are presumably the kooks. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And it should infuriate you to a certain level if you are invested in the idea that politics can be the answer. And the truth is that it can't. It really can't. And I have not been so stressed because, as all of you have noted, I have pulled away increasingly from politics and have been calling out the left and the right because it's become apparent to me that both sides lie. Am I a little surprised by Trump? Yeah, I am. Especially because it's just so soon and so fast and so obvious as he's talking about building hotels. The Trump hotel to be built in the Gaza Strip while there are literally children starving today there. What kind of a tweet is that? I mean, like, it's just, I get it that Miriam Adelson gave you $100 million. That's a lot of money. But man, have some dignity, man. Have a little bit of respect for the human beings that are still dying and have been being bombed for 2 years.
That's a good point.
Entire years they have been effectively carpet bombed. And you and Jared Kushner are out there talking about building hotels and what an impressive real estate portfolio you might have if people began to see Gaza as an investment. All we have to do is murder these people.
Now, let's be honest.
That's not what he said.
Claws are out.
Let's be honest. We was all imagining like a Dubai Gaza at a certain point.
I was too. Yeah, I was like, oh man, just go and
rebuild it and then
make it look nice for them. I'm not saying move them to Egypt. I'm saying no, let them have that.
Yeah, like send them out, bring them back once we build it back up. Like that'd been cool, but let's be real though. When he first said it, I was a little bit shocked. I was like, hold on. Like, are you like, bro, can we solve the fact that innocent civilians are getting bombed first and then we can start thinking about nice hotels and all that? Because I don't want to go to that hotel and I'm dealing like the ghost of a mosque. Like, I'm good.
You're on a fucking mass burial ground from the fucking good God.
Like, who wants to go vacationing on a mass burial ground? Like, come on.
I mean, I'm not going to the Middle East anytime soon. I don't care who's building hotels there.
Well, I'm so thankful we have free speech to even talk about this. Imagine if it was an actual dictator and we couldn't even hash this out together.
I'll tell you what, if we were in Israel right now, just go ahead and show them the video of that Iranian woman fucking getting the wall blown out behind her. That would be us.
Oh man, that would have been terrible. And I can only imagine. Like I said, stuff like this, we're blessed that we live in America because it could just never be us.
Yeah.
صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است.
I saw this.
آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استادیوم.
Oh man.
Man, that was probably the one time I wish I knew the language. It was
saying, right?
Put it in Google Translate.
I'm done. Once I got to translate the speech to text.
Oh man.
And what's quite stunning, I want to add to this, is you reflect on it, and I think there's something like 1 million adults in Gaza. With the amount of money that we have given Israel, other countries have given Israel, the amount of money that has been spent on the bombs that they are dropping, that are being manufactured on the behalf of Israel, they could have just gone to every Palestinian family and offered them money for their homes, right? Think about that. They could have just gone and said, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million for your home because this is a nice piece of real estate. But they chose to murder them. They are choosing to carpet bomb them, to gaslight the American people, and to refer to us as anti-Semites for noticing the Holocaust. They are choosing evil, death, and destruction, while at the same time demanding that you recognize that these are God's chosen people. So did Trump betray his base? Did Trump betray his mandate? Well, Dave Smith definitely thinks.
I would say not yet, but it's steering in that direction. Like, let's be real. We're not in a war yet with them. You never know where this could go. It's just steering in that direction.
Well, Trump, to be fair, talked about Iran not getting nukes just as much as he talked about ending pointless wars and stuff like that too.
I don't know, but I feel
Also-
like that's just like ambiguous language because cool,
Hold on.
we all agreed with that. But what did that really mean though? Like,
So-
to be quite honest.
So
True.
You don't have to go to war to take out someone like, Soleimani, Baghdadi, fucking people.
The country just got to roll over.
He's
and
used kinetic means to get his points across before, but
now, and here's the thing: because Iran didn't trip over that, who's to say that Iran didn't give out the Rhone and just let that guy get bombed? Because why? Because I mean, if it really meant that much, why didn't they react like they're reacting to Israel? I mean, we killed the leader, and Israel just hit him with a shell. I mean, let's be real. Like, we done greater damage to these guys, and they ain't said nothing over that. But now all of a sudden, over Israel, they're now ready to attack the U.S. Like, something's off. Oh, that's just my thought on the matter.
So here's what he had to say over on Breaking Points. Take a listen.
Yeah, Donald Trump looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one. And not on some not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of, corrupt hacks.
This is the one
But
thing they support. This is like
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. And I will say, despite the fact that, Donald Trump supporters have been labeled like a cult following, and that certainly is true for a percentage of his supporters, he is going to lose his coalition over this. I know.
If we do end up boots on the ground in Iran, he's going to lose the entire MAGA base.
Yeah.
MAGA will probably become a third party at the end of the day. It'd be like, oh yeah, it's over. You screwed up. G. Bro, the whole Republican Party. We're already throwing away the left. We're already throwing away the Democrats at this point because of their wild immigration policies. We'll throw away the right too at this point. All right, well, we can't trust the left with immigration and honestly, anything really. And we can't trust you guys to keep us out of war. So yeah, we'll just screw you both if that's the point. Like, we just need a whole new party then. Because obviously we just need to throw both of y'all away.
But think about how much shit you go through supporting Donald Trump. If I get fucking Nazi fucking spray painted all over my fucking car, I can't even fucking walk down the street with people that know my opinion, and literally all we fucking want is to be happy and be peaceful, then no, I'm not going to support someone that's going to go put us in war and do exactly what George Bush did. But I don't think that's what he's doing. But yeah, no.
All right, now let's go to one of the wild clips of the night. The Irish PM got something to say to Benjamin Netanyahu because this man was pretty much going off.
Now, when dear God finally brings him to the resting place that he deserves to. I hope that Benjamin Netanyahu
burns in hell.
The same way
them children
and
their families bone.
I hope him and his generals and the far-right government in Israel that when dear God finally brings him to the resting place that he deserves to burn in hell. Because what is happening now, not alone is it apartheid, not alone is it atrocity and a war crime, it's just horrific. It's just horrific what they're doing. Where is their soul? Where is the soul of the Israeli people that allows their government to do this to children? Where is their humanity? The Israeli people, the Jewish people, after everything the Jewish people have suffered down over the decades, that they would allow their government to do this to other human beings. Human beings. I hope that
you got a point. You got a point. I mean, the music, of course, adds a very sad setting to it.
It sounds like the fucking "In the Arms of the Angels," like the fucking SPCA AFPCA commercials.
I mean, hey man, you can make anything sound emotional when you put some.
Oh no, they actually used to play that shit on Fox, like commercials, like support Israel, and it was that same music.
No, I don't just speak for myself when I say there are a lot of us who simply will not go along with this. So it's just a devastating mistake. By the way, on top of that, he's also going to lose the deportation fight because of this. Because right now he needed all the political capital he could have to turn that, you got a majority support for deportations, but the minority is very mobilized and they're out and they're protesting all around the country. He needed all of his political capital for that move. So here's what we got. The neocons win. More war abroad and, bomb the world and invite the world. No matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain.
It is. And I did not vote for the party of John McCain. Okay. And like I said, you're not going to gaslight me into believing that it was an act of my own betrayal and deceit. Okay. And not that it just seems to be that every politician is always in line with whatever demonic ambitions that Israel has. It's nonstop war all the time, which they are demanding nonstop. Okay. And there's a lot that I want to say here about reflecting on these last couple of years and things that didn't make sense at the time, the attacks on Christ as King, the obvious infiltration that was taking place. And let's be very clear, the neocons won. The neocons won. They have infiltrated successfully the Maga movement. And I don't know if it was ever, I'm questioning myself here, was it ever about the farmers? Was it ever about the ranchers? Was it ever about the veterans? Did they ever care about any of that stuff? Or what is that just the rhetoric that you use to secure votes? And I want to answer that question because I want to get to this clip of Jordan Peterson that was floating around the internet, which I wanted to respond to while I was on maternity leave. But first, speaking of farmers and ranchers, if you have not yet heard about River Bend Ranch, it is time.
All right, but we're not getting into all that part.
Plug her own ad.
Hey, man, hey, it's so smooth, though. It is so smooth how she does it sometimes. But all right, now, let's get into some of this, my Hispanic homies rant on immigration.
Number one, I don't speak on behalf of all the Hispanic community because I always see those comments. Oh, you don't speak on my behalf. I'm not speaking on your behalf. I'm not speaking on your behalf. That's number one. Number two, there is a portion of this that is emotional for me, and I'll explain why. I mean, I'm not gonna. I can't sit here and not tell you that I don't have an emotional factor to this. Let me explain why. My parents came here. My mom was 6 years old when she came to this country. My grandmother had already had 5 kids. My grandmother came over here. She was 6 months pregnant with my tia Teresa. My tia Teresa was born in San Francisco. She jumped the border pregnant, and they lived in San Francisco. So my mom was here, beautiful little redhead girl when she was 6 years old. My dad came here when he was 18 years old. When my mom's side of the family, they worked in the fields, picked grapes, you name it, all of it. My uncles were mayordomos. My mom picked grapes. She did the field work, all of that, because we live in Bakersfield in the San Joaquin Valley. And my dad and his family and his brothers ended up in the restaurant business. So my dad was a dishwasher. My dad was a waiter. My dad never did the fields, but he did do that part. And all his brothers did the exact same thing. They ended up moving on to become entrepreneurs, owned restaurants that came out on Time Magazine. My dad and my uncle's side of the family became very successful entrepreneurs. So there is an emotional side to this. And I would be lying if I didn't say that. However, one thing that we also have to understand is that no matter what way you look at it, the law is the law. And you could say, oh, sellout, coconut. I've already heard all this other bullshit. I've already heard all of it. And I've been called all of it. But I will tell you that a lot of people also agree with that. For example, I know that a lot of the protests are being funded and they're out there burning cars, waving the Mexican flag. It's wild to me that you come to a country that we broke into. Let's call it for what it is, even though it's emotional to me. I come from illegal immigrant parents. I have illegal immigrant family members to this day. And that you're demanding something as if you're entitled to it. And you're waving the Mexican flag in America and saying, oh, F ICE. I was having a conversation with somebody on Instagram the other day. We were going back and forth. I said, if let's say right now with all your stupid ass little signs, if we sent you to Congress and you represented all the Hispanic community, how would we end up? If everything was on your shoulders, with your FIs, stolen land, this used to be Mexico. Is that what you're going to go tell all these congressmen? If amnesty was on your shoulders, is that?
It would sound like you were going to war with us at that point. To be quite real, like It's like, oh yeah, we're like, this used to be our land. You guys took it. We're about to occupy it, basically. And I'm like, okay, so what are you
You
declaring
can
war on
try.
us? I mean,
If Mexico wants to run it back and try to fight again, we can do it again.
I mean, shoot, but if you lose, you give us all of Mexico, though.
We're just gonna take. We're gonna get Mexico, and like I said, we're gonna give the Jews California. And
I'm done.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow!
And then we're gonna bring peace to the Middle East.
Yep, we're gonna solve all our problems in 20 minutes.
He is making a lot of good points, though. You know, and
Yeah.
he's already saying that he's actually biased in the other way, but he just knows that he can rationalize that it's not a common sense
Liberals,
thing
all
to do.
emotion.
When I was about to say that when they get to the emotional side of things, they love to completely ignore reason, logic, and laws because it feels good. And I understand where they're coming from. You want to feel good, and it feels bad that these people are getting kicked out after 20 years or after 4 years or after however much time, but they broke in here. They broke in. They're not supposed to be here.
And that's half of it. That's half of it. The other part that they use is indifference. You know, they show indifference to, the things that they don't want to support. You know, it's not universally. They just care about. Remember there was a kid who survived brain surgery. He had the cancer.
DJ.
Yeah, and he wanted to be a Secret Service or something like that, police officer, and they made that happen. They showed no empathy.
They was being too petty. It was too petty. Like, they didn't stand for anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't even stand for the little boy that's like having his dreams come true. Come on now. It was just a really bad look on them, though. They really should have just stood. If anything, they should have stood for the kid.
They should have.
And I mean that's just how and it's not how liberals are. That's how the
media is.
Ivory power liberals are.
Yeah.
And the people that follow them genuinely care and believe what they are saying. Except when they're saying all of that, they're doing it to pander to a base. Their views will change every 20 years. You know, it'll change with the wind. The same people that are saying, "Oh, who's going to pick our fruit?" are the same people that said, "Oh, who's going to pick our cotton?"
Oh no, let's go. Actually,
that's the route that you're going to take.
He gets to that,
and that's the irritating part. I think for a lot of us, I understand. For example, 1986, which that's how my grandfather became legal here, and my uncles and my mom did, was because Ronald Reagan gave amnesty. And here's my emotional part. That a lot of people won't agree with on the right, okay? But I'm gonna speak I'm just gonna be very honest. When we vote, for example, when Trump, by the way, just to make one thing clear, I do not regret it. I do not regret it. I don't like everything that Trump does, but I don't regret it. I'd much rather have a Trump than a Kamala. When Trump said, "Hey, this is
it's like, bro, if somebody asks, so knowing this set, would you do it all over again?" I'll look them dead in their eyes and say, "Yeah, of course, I would do it all over again." Kamala was a non-option.
Let me be honest with you. Even if we go to war with Iran, I'd still do it all over again. I'd like
Kamala was
no. You have two options. But I mean, like, let's think back to that. That's what we have. We have two options.
You got full-on commie socialism, or you got, hey man, at least you might still have a capitalist or a constitutional republic at the end of it. With Kamala, it was going to be government control all the way through.
Yeah, and she was demonizing large parts of the country to get their votes. You know,
I mean, Joe Biden even did it. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah, that was a banger right there.
And white supremacy is the most dangerous thing to our country. When he was standing behind that red background,
or when he called us garbage.
Yeah.
All right.
People were going after we were being told that there was people eating cats and dogs in apartments in Denver, Colorado, and the Tren de Agua, and this, and that's what we were being told. So therefore, when we're saying, hey, they're gonna go after all these guys that Biden let in, they're saying anywhere between 15 and 11 and 15 million people. That's who we assumed they were gonna come after. Your first raids are in freaking LA. Like, you're like, what the hell is going on here? That's the emotional part. Logically, it's the law. That's the logical side. And any Hispanic that comes from immigrant parents, whether your parents are immigrant or not, or Hispanic here, or any minority, you have to see things for what they are. It's the law. Like, no matter what, it's the law. Matter of fact, Rob, can you play this? Let me give context before Rob. This video is in Tijuana. The Central Americans showed up in Tijuana. Nobody likes illegal immigration. Let's see what the Mexicans in Mexico did to the Central Americans, please. Shoot it, Rob.
Go back home, I'm going.
What's this, Ricky?
This is in Tijuana when a Central American caravan came to Tijuana. And look at the signs. Well, you'll see them right now, Pat. It's only a minute-long video. No a la invasión. No to the invasion. No a la invasión.
They're pretty much saying, yo, get these immigrants up out of here. We don't want them here. But for some reason, we accept their immigrants. It's crazy.
In Mexico. This is not LA.
Those are the Mexicans on the other on that side. Yeah.
Look how they're treating the Central Americans. Puro Tijuana cabrones. Look. Primero nuestros pobres, no invasión. Tijuana, no, de primero México. First America.
Give us a little subtitle, Ricky.
No, sí.
Damn, I mean, full blown protests against immigration, and we're over here supporting it.
Wait, all those people there are protesting the
immigration in Mexico.
All of them.
All of them.
I think we should
Mexican protest against
as our
immigration.
51st state.
Oh,
I'm done. I mean, hey man, they share some values, don't they?
They're all red pilled.
I mean, shoot. Hey, and they mostly Christian too. I mean, we can rock with that.
Yeah, more so than Canada.
I don't know why Trump's going after Canada. I would much rather go after Mexico. You can solve the drug problem. You can stop the Chinese influence on drugs.
Just take out the cartel and man, look, take out the cartel and everything gets better in Mexico for real.
You got a whole bunch more coastline. Whew.
Hey, S.E.T, let me say something. So it's almost like you go to the doctor and you find out you got this issue, and then he looks into that, and then it's like, oh, there's another issue, and then you go hear that, and it's like, oh, well, we just found this other issue. Bruh. I mean,
you're talking about a mechanic or a doctor?
A doctor. Well, yeah,
mechanic dude.
Right. But
like that.
in theory,
yeah,
in practicality, you'd probably be 6 feet under if you had that many problems. But point is like that's kind of what's going on with America. We come into one situation that's complicated. As we're tackling it, another issue pops up. And we're playing like whack-a-mole with all these issues.
I mean, like, man, trust me, we went through so many different conflicts within this, or so many different protests, conflicts, battling courts within this past 6 months. Well, honestly, 5 months and a half. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I mean, it's so much resistance against Trump just because he's Trump. Like,
exactly.
And that's one of the issues too, the Trump derangement.
Yeah, and they don't understand executive powers and all that good stuff.
They've never read the Constitution.
Ilegales, no la invasión. Mexico does this, you hypocrites. That's what pisses me off. Mexico does this. You want to racist, fascist. If you don't support the cause, then you're implicit. Silence is implicit. What about this shit? What about this? No country likes illegal immigration. There's no racism involved. There's no fascism involved, whether we like it or not. And if Trump and if ICE were to pick up, I would be personally affected in a very, 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 very close manner to me. But the law or the law, this president, and by the way, nobody said anything when Barack Obama deported 3 million people. Oh, and I love this. Oh, he did due process. No, he didn't. In 1996, Bill Clinton signed a bill that allowed expedited exportations. He used it, Bush used it, Obama used it, Biden used it, and so did Trump. There's no due process.
Bro, and I've been trying to explain this to people for like months, ever since the whole Kilmar Garcia and all that. I'm like, bro, you guys don't understand what expedited removal is? Like, it's not due probably, bro. What about their due process? No, that is their due process. Is if they've been in here for like less than 2 years, then we can send them out here. No court date, no lawyer, no nothing. They're gone.
Also,
and a lot of people couldn't just understand that.
Also, where in the Constitution does it say foreign nationals get due process?
I mean, well, you know how they'll say
hold on. I'll let you finish that thought, then I got something for that.
Man, you know how they like to misinterpret it. They say persons and all that good stuff, but they forget the part where it says the jurisdiction of.
So what about the Second Amendment? Does that mean illegal immigrants have the right to have guns?
Oof. I mean, it's a little slippery right there. I ain't gonna lie, man. We're going down a slippery slope.
Like, exactly. It's if you read the fucking shit, they make one argument on one amendment and the same language on another amendment. Suddenly, illegal immigrants are entitled to that.
I make it make sense, guys. L lives. Make it make sense.
I'd like anybody to debate me on that. Anybody.
Yep. Exactly. And shout out to our man Tozy. Yep, expedited deportation is their due process. It's like, it sucks, but yep, that is your due process. That's all you get, guys. Like, not everyone deserves a court date to be able to appeal it. Nope, because trust me, Bill Clinton foreseen that, and he was like, y'all ain't about to hold up the courts for this.
They want to hold up the courts because they want to wait until there's another president in office that's going to give them all amnesty. That's what they're waiting for.
And they knew it, and man, they know what they're doing with it. But oh damn. All right, guys. Yep, we done went over time. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and close this one out, guys. And guys, let's make sure you double tap that screen and like the video, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And shout out to my man Monty and Luke, man. Appreciate you guys for coming up.
Thanks, Seth.
All right, man. No problem, guys. All right, man. We're gonna head out of here with a word from our sponsor. Appreciate the support, guys. Man, y'all make sure y'all stay safe out there and have a good morning. Peace, guys. Today, modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is SET and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor.